with Andrew Schulz. Comedy, The American Dream, and Whores.
So now we're having these like logical arguments with people who were never like reasoned into their position. It's like arguing with your wife. You know what I mean? Like, that's why like I don't believe that Ben Shapiro's actually married. Like, how could you go like, the facts don't care about your feelings and also be married? America thrives on our own delusion. Every American, when they're born, believes they will be a millionaire. And some are starting to believe that that's not a possibility.
The American dream is not for them.
That's what they feel. I'm pro your...
Well, I mean, given what's happened with society, right, with the wage gap and how prices are going up, and none of the wages have, right? All the wages have stayed the same, by the way. None of the wages have moved around. Right, why is everything else getting more expensive, but all the wages have stayed the same?
Like
why does inflation keep happening? Even though we shouldn't be getting inflation. You know what I mean? Like, right? Why does the increase of tech and everything keep increasing?
Facts don't care about your feelings and also be married. America thrives on our own delusion.
Our country's still getting into conflicts when they shouldn't be.
And some are starting to believe that that's not a possibility.
The American dream is not for them.
That's what they feel.
Why are religions still getting into conflict when they shouldn't be?
We're not going to like thank you at the Oscars or whatever.
It's like we're still back in the old ways of
Andrew
fucking
Schulz? Yes. Welcome to
trying
Thank you so much.
You said that with a
genocide religious groups constantly.
You ready to go?
Yes.
Well, listen, it's an interesting cultural moment. Very, very interesting. A lot of things have changed in a short period of time. What do you make of it all?
Well, what specifically?
I think, first of all, we watched your special.
Oh.
Why are you surprised?
I don't know, you're busy guys.
We're f***ing professionals, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay.
It wasn't for the pleasure.
You better have. Yeah. You better have done that.
It wasn't for the joy of watching it. We had to make sure.
Yeah, we were watching cum jokes at 8 o'clock this morning, Andrew.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes.
20 minutes of masturbating in a hospital.
Yes.
I mean, wonderful.
It's hard to make a baby.
It's art. It's real art, Andrew.
Thank you.
Yeah. But so someone who watched a special now would be like, wokeness never happened. Because there's like retards and there's I'm trying to think, everything under the sun's in there.
Yes.
No one's offended. Everyone understands it's a joke.
Yes, right? most of the response, I don't see anybody offended by it.
Right, and it's on Netflix and blah, blah. So no one's getting cancelled for this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say...
I'm pretty sure all of the Netflix stuff is pretty tame. I mean, why else would they do it? Right.
Specifically with this special, that it's not exactly gratuitous, and because of the story specifically, I'm not like trying to like plug it, but because the story is this like real human story, I think you get a little bit more leeway. When you're just up there going, hey, here's my craziest trans joke, here's my craziest Chinese people joke, like then I think you start to make people feel potentially a little uncomfortable. When the jokes seem rooted in something real, like I've always said this even with like a sex joke. Like if there's a sex joke is not a sex joke if it's rooted in like a real experience. But if you're just like, hey, fucking vagina is something, now all of a sudden the old woman in the audience is like, I feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you're telling this story of this thing that happened and vagina happens to be included in it, that old lady is dying laughing. So I think because of the nature of like the vulnerability in the story, like nobody gets made fun of more than me in that hour. So it's very hard for somebody to like see it, hear a joke about like one of these specifically, you know, ostracized groups and be like, man, I had it hard in that hour.
I think the Staten Island people had it very hard.
They're the best. Shout out to them. Yeah, they did get it.
But on the other hand, you open Twitter, and you go, oh, this is a whole different experience, right?
Yeah.
So what do you make of the kind of post-Trump effect and culturally what's happening at the moment?
Right, it's way different on these social
think,
media
what is
platforms.
the post-Trump? Like, I'm trying to kind of dial in what you're getting at. Like the discourse on Twitter, is that, because I would say that preceded Trump's win.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, Elon opened it up and you buy a Ferrari, you need to see how fast it goes. You know what I mean? It's like everybody, you get a new car, you need to go, okay, how fast does this fucking car go? So when they say you could say whatever you want, people are like, all right.
Yeah, you open the floodgates, literally. Yeah, you open the floodgates when you do that.
You know, and he was about that action. Like, he doesn't seem like people are getting kicked off. So I think people are going through that experience where they have the new car. And eventually you go, I don't really need to drive the car as fast as the car goes. I just need to kind of like operate with some comfort in this car. And I think that's what we'll eventually get back to. But you have to have the patience to let that pendulum swing back. And most people don't have that patience. So like if this was a publicly traded company, the shareholders would start to go, what the hell is going on?
Some
The
people
stock
are
price
not
has
very
dipped,
patient
70%
or
or whatever
tolerant
it
with
dipped.
everything, so
My
they
savings
get
is dipping.
very
We need a change. Get Elon out of there. Get
let's
whatever
say,
president is
easier
out of there.
than normal people.
Get somebody else in that's going to make sure the stock goes up. Because it's privately owned.
Basically, there's a lot of
out
anxious
for,
people who
next
get
2
way
years,
too
hopefully.
anxious, and
Things normalize.
they go
again.
overboard.
It's interesting that you say that.
Those
because you're
people
saying the
need to chill the
pendulum
fuck out, really.
And it hopefully will come back to the center. But
Yeah.
the pendulum hasn't been in the center, Andrew, for a very long time. It feels like it was up there, and
Yeah,
now
it's
we were in the
been-
center for
yeah,
a little bit, and I'm like, well, you know that the boat that you used to go on.
Yeah,
in
the
fairground
pendulum
where you
has
go up
never
and-
been
That kind of feels like life
right
now,
balanced.
doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you notice that
It's always been up in one
I'm
direction
going to
or
make
up
this
in the
statement
other.
with like zero knowledge
Never
of
been
physics,
in the
but
middle
I would
swinging.
presume that boat or that ride that we're talking about spends more time on the edges than it does in the middle, right? Because
Correct.
like think about it, it slows down as it gets to the top.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it passes back slow as it starts to gain momentum again. And the smallest amount of time it spends is at this point right here because it's at peak speed before it starts slowing down again. If there's some scientist out there that is going, you know
Yeah,
what the fuck I'm talking
basically, you would take time gaps of when it stops at that end, right, and when it stops at the other end, right, when it reaches the middle. Basically, you would take like measurements in a way.
about. Yes, you're right. But
But yes,
I think that's what you're
there's
saying. So it's like it was a
there's a
lot of time.
there's a physical mathematical formula in physics where of the pendulum swing, basically.
On the left,
Yeah.
and then
You
now
can
you're
actually
going to
look it
see
up.
a lot of time on the right, and the right's going to fucking ruin it, and they're going to say crazy fucking shit and be just as like offended and concerned as the left was. Like you already see the protectionist behavior about like their heroes, and yeah, it's unfortunate. I hope
What
it
do you
doesn't
mean?
happen.
Like what heroes?
If you criticize Elon in any way, there are people that like knee-jerk reaction or just like how the fuck dare you, and they try to cancel you, and they do the exact same thing that maybe they were criticizing the left of doing for the last 8 years. So
And
it's just humans. It's like what we do, you know.
We
It's
get
Rorschach
mad at
test, right?
things.
It's like whatever
we,
you believe, you
right?
see.
We get
You know, if
passionate about
you're
things.
somebody who,
say things, and then
Is
sometimes
very
those
for
words don't
free speech
really fucking
and you like jokes.
don't
and,
really reflect
you're not a big like identity
right,
politics
the
guy.
actions
You'll
of
watch
the
this
person.
show and you'd be like, yo, those two guys are the truth. They're the realest ever. I love them. Thank God they're like protecting free speech. And if you're somebody who's the opposite of that, you'll watch this show and you're like, those guys are fucking
Well, I mean, look,
Nazis
I'm
and they're
okay
assholes, and how
with
dare they
Elon
push this
Musk
kind
and
of
Trump for now.
rhetoric, and
They
this is
haven't
what's,
done
wrong
anything
with the
too
whole world.
crazy
You're the
to
same
be
guys.
like, yeah, I don't like
So
that.
it's very difficult to like convince somebody to feel something different. There's that great Jonathan Haidt
Sure,
book.
I
Did you guys read it?
dislike
Righteous
some
Mind or whatever?
things that
It's a perfect
they've
example. Like,
done so far.
I didn't know that that's how our
But,
brains work,
I
but
mean,
now it makes perfect sense.
all in all,
We feel something.
they're
retrofit
helping
a
gain
justification on
us
it.
some
End of
fucking
story. So now we're
substance
having these
of
like
our
logical arguments with
goddamn
people who
country
never
back.
like reasoned into their position. It's like arguing with your wife. You know what I mean? Like, I just seriously, honestly, going to therapy with my wife has taught me everything about like communicating with people on the internet. When they feel something, like if you and you guys married, you guys
Yeah.
have okay, great. All
I
right.
am.
You,
No.
He's smart.
yeah.
He's small.
So it's like your wife, you do something pisses off your wife, right? Now, is the smartest thing to do to like logically explain to her why she shouldn't be pissed off?
I have tried that many times.
How does
Probably
that work?
not a
When
good
you go,
idea. yeah.
Not good,
Hey,
man.
here are these
Yeah,
data points that show why you shouldn't be angry.
Yeah, that has never worked out.
You're saying she never goes, oh, you're right. That data does make me less angry.
No,
Oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'm just gonna believe you now.
I've never heard a woman say the words "you were right."
Yeah, no, that's
why,
not
like,
gonna
I
happen.
don't believe that Ben Shapiro's actually married. Like, how could you go like facts don't care about your feelings and also be married? Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
because-
that
yeah, that-
feelings
oh,
don't care
I see
about
what you're
facts,
Right.
and you
I
know
see.
that's what
So that's
motivates
why you said
human
that. Yeah,
interaction constantly,
yeah.
right? So
That's why they
what
brought
we
it
should
up in
be
the
doing
beginning,
online is meeting people where they are
or a
emotionally,
snippet of it.
satisfying that feeling, and then distributing some facts.
And that's a very, very good point, because what we are in now is the boat is going up this way. And what I find really interesting is there's been a lot of comedians, and I understand why, because Kamala was such a dreadful candidate, awful. Trump was a better candidate, we can all agree.
Sure.
But now the boat's coming up here and the right are in power, and they're going to start doing some pretty dodgy things. And those comedians who've come out and
and there's already been some
pretty difficult
kind of
position now,
dodgy
doesn't
things,
it?
right?
Yeah, it depends. Like if you were, like this is why I didn't go to the inauguration.
Russia,
I think it was
Ukraine
very generous
stuff.
of them to like invite me.
Yeah, the
But I felt like showing
inauguration,
up at the
right? You saw it
inauguration is
there.
like this
Like Democrats did
endorsement
not.
of them. Like I'm on that team
They did
specifically.
some-
I'm on Team America.
Holy shit!
So like, what's best for America? Do I have optimism about the administration more than the last one? So yeah, I'm like, I hope it works. When they bring up some tariff shit, like I don't know if I'm financially illiterate. I don't know if tariffs work or not, but I'm like, this other shit wasn't working. Let's see if this works. Like I have optimism, but I don't really believe in like endorsement. I don't believe in like taking a side per se, because I think it's hard to do comedy when people like know your side, know what you're already going to say about a topic. Like I want to surprise you.
Yeah, you
know?
want to be
Now, that being
unorthodox.
said,
you
like,
you
I'm
want
sure
to
people
you
will
want to
label
keep
me in
people on
whatever
their
way they
toes.
want,
You
and
don't
they're
you
allowed
don't
to do
want
that,
people
and
to know
there are people who
your
think I'm like
your
some right-wing
jokes
MAGA
or anything,
lunatic.
right?
You know, there are people who think that I'm like this like centrist, you know, try to appease all sides guy, like whatever, like we said, Rorschach test. Whatever you already feel, that's what you'll see.
You sold out, man.
Yeah, of course. I sold
Correct.
out every direction. I
First,
sold out.
that's why I say first impressions somewhat matter in a sense, right? Because they do the whole Rorschach test. I mean, look, people perceive the world around them differently. That's just how it is. You know, with their
That's what I find funny, is like
experiences
everyone
and
who tries to have
right,
any
how
semblance
they
of
were
balance is
taught
always getting
or
accused
what
of
they
selling
learned
out.
throughout their
When it's like,
fucking
it's quite a normal
education or
position
whatever
not to be
you want to call it,
entirely
or their
convinced that one side has
businesses or
all the right
whatever.
answers.
Yeah, who believes that? And also, it's like the sides switch so much. You know, when I was younger, like Democrats were cool. They were getting their dick sucked in the office. They were like, right? They were like supportive of like hip hop music. They said, do whatever you want. Like, we don't want to be in your bedroom. They were cool with gay people. Like, it was cool to be a Democrat. Now, conservatives got 3 baby mamas. The president got 3 baby mamas. He's getting pussy left and right. Right? He's cool. He's the one saying, say whatever the fuck you want. So now conservatives have become Democrats. So I don't think I've changed. I just like the dudes that get pussy and say whatever they want. So it's very, you want me to be a Democrat again? Get some pussy. Tell me to say whatever I want. I'm there.
But also the people who are behaving like Democrats as conservatives were Democrats a few years ago.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That's,
in a
what,
sense,
that's what I'm saying. Like the idea that like you have this loyalty to the party doesn't even have loyalty to itself.
Correct.
So how can you say that? How can you say I have loyalty to the party? It's like the party changed drastically. It completely flipped.
Yeah, that's why I never understood when they taught you in school about, you know, the Democrat Party and their pros and cons on different viewpoints and shit. It's like, at the end of the day, a lot of these people will change their views over the years because of, right, all the shit that comes up.
In the last like 5 years, 8 years, 12 years, whatever you want to say. So maybe I'm just making decisions based on the things that I care about in the moment. And maybe that group is, you know, connecting to me more in this moment.
Well, it sounds to me like you've stayed
we
pretty
are supposed to
consistent
be
about
the
what you
United
think is
States,
important, and
in
the
a
world's
sense, right?
changed.
I mean, well,
That's how I feel.
I
as
guess
well.
that's what they're
it's like
talking
your point about,
right?
you know, people used to shut down people's opinions or jokes or whatever. They used to be Christian conservatives mostly. Really.
Are we really united
Now
if
it kinda got
we're
flipped.
They tried to
saying
ban
all
rock
this
music
weird
and rap
shit
music.
to
Like,
fucking
how could I
fuck
support that
other
party?
people up and shit?
What young kid is going, yeah, we need a ban rap?
I don't
and
know,
rock music.
man.
I mean, we need those guys seem cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whereas Democrats, dude was, you know, he's like, yo, I smoked, I didn't inhale, but I smoked it. And we're like, ooh, you're a liar. I like that. You know? Like,
Fucking
yeah,
old
whatever the
ball.
fuck, right? So yeah, I think it was just more relatable.
Yeah.
Obama had a great line about that. Do you remember?
The Coke line?
No. When he was asked if there was like 8 of them, and they all went, "Did you smoke weed?" And like 7 of them went, "Yeah, but I didn't inhale." And they were like, they went to Obama, "Did you inhale?" And he went, "Yeah, that was the point."
I mean,
He was cool.
He's fine.
Yeah, it was.
I think they need some cool. They need
Yeah.
an injection of cool.
Yeah.
I think that would help. Yeah, anytime like I'm like critical of Democrats right now, it's hoping that they will, restore their connectivity to the American people. Like I
Well, I
grew
mean,
up a Democrat.
my
My parents had a dance
they're
studio. I grew up in the
disconnected.
arts in New York
They
City.
don't know
Like,
what
what
the
else
fucking
do you think
American
that I
people
would be?
want anymore.
You know what I mean? I went to public school in New York City. My parents were in the arts. Obviously.
Right.
So-
Trump's side is the only
Yeah, I
people
hope they pay
listening
attention
to
like, what's
actually
happening
what
and what
American,
the American
people
are
want.
feeling.
And how did you get into comedy from there, Andrew?
What's
your journey?
I listened to Eddie Murphy's Delirious with my dad at a very young age
Eddie
on
Murphy.
cassette. It was an audio cassette.
Eddie
and
Murphy, great.
I just saw my dad dying laughing to Eddie Murphy, and I've probably been chasing that
Great
that
comedian.
laugh ever since. Yeah, and then I just became kind of like obsessed with it. I'd watch Def Comedy Jam. I bought those like tapes.
Oh yeah,
They
the
would do,
Def
like,
Comedy
a monthly
Jams.
thing
Yeah.
back in the day where they'd send you a new cassette of whatever that month's Def Comedy Jam was. And then I saw the Kings of Comedy, Bernie Mac specifically.
Yeah, Bernie Mac.
I was like,
yeah.
oh my God, this is the funniest
the
human being
Kings of
ever.
Comedy, Bernie Mac, and all
then
those
Chris
guys.
Rock,
Yep.
and then Patrice. And Patrice is just like the highest level I've ever seen it done.
Do you see him live?
I've seen him live, yeah. I was at Elephant in the Room. I was at the taping as like a fan. I didn't even know him. I was just like, this is the greatest I've seen everybody. I've seen them do well and not do well. That's still the highest level I've ever witnessed in person.
Why? What was it about Patrice?
It's like everything, like just straight human connectivity, the conversational nature, but it's like he disarmed you in a beautiful way, like very quickly, to where you didn't think that this was a comedy show with prepared jokes. But he gave you prepared jokes. So the jokes were solid enough for him to stand up there and be like, here's my next joke. And it would murder. But he was like conversational and like genuinely thinking about his premises as he was talking them. Now it could be act, sure, as it is, but like you believed it. So now you're disarmed and you're getting amazing jokes. And like, it was just like phenomenal. Just the observations, the references, also just crowd work, like him interacting with people is like just like brutal honesty. Never ask a question that you don't want to know the answer to. There's a lot of people like, what do you do for a living? It's like, you don't care. You don't care what they do for a living. Ask them what you care about,
And the interesting thing with
Well, I
Patrice
mean, there's just too
is
many
that he
people in the
spent a
room,
lot of
right? You
time
can't just
struggling
right.
in
That's
his,
not the
in his
right.
career
Yeah.
because for reasons
You're
that
doing
were
a show.
primarily his own fault.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that much about that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. But like he was like tough to deal with. You're talking about not.
But
When we had Burr on, it's one of the things he talked about.
Yeah.
It was like he was a hard person to deal with, even
Yes.
though Bill loved it.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, when you said struggling the career, I thought you meant like in terms of like getting laughs or learning how to be funny.
No.
You mean like getting on TV shows and doing that kind
yeah,
of
but
shit.
also, and I've heard this from numerous people, including people who worked with him in the UK,
Yeah.
who said, when he turned up and he was in the right mood, brilliant, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
When Patrice was in a bad mood or someone, kicked a little bit of sand in the metaphorical vagina,
Yeah.
everyone was going to fucking know about it.
Yeah, they're gonna feel it. I mean, again, I didn't know him like that, so I've
Yeah.
heard stories about that, but I just would never say that about somebody that I didn't know for certain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
listen,
why I try not to fucking.
there's a lot of
assume
people
too
in this
much.
business that are a pain in the ass to be around.
As long
At
as the
least be
person
funny.
says whatever they
You know what I
say,
mean? Like,
it's-
like, there's a lot of
that's on
people that are
them,
just
right?
annoying to be around, and they're unfunny, and you're like, what the f is going on? But that motherfucker, he had it.
Yeah.
He had it, dude.
Yeah, and it's you look at what Patrice was doing, you look at the discourse now, and as a comedian, you're excited by what's happening. But because we were talking before you came on for a couple of days on and off about there's also this ugly thing that's happening with American discourse. So I personally am finding really worrying.
Yeah.
As someone who looks more than a little bit Jewy,
Yeah.
seeing
Jew.
full-blown anti-Semitism,
yeah.
and they're not just like, man, that's racist. You criticise Israel in this, as in, no, like this is a real deal.
Yeah, I think you and I, as people who present as Jewish, have a little bit more sensitivity to the Jew issue than the average person per se.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you're going to care about it because you
You're-
are it.
We talked about this before, right? My grandfather was an atheist secular Jew,
Yeah.
that's my connection to Jewishness. It's
Yeah.
fairly tenuous. A lot of
Fair,
Jews
yeah.
are like, nah, you're not really Jewish, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the
because you
reason-
didn't
I'll be honest
really
with you, the reason
practice, right?
anti-Semitism concerns me is not because my grandfather was Jewish. It's because it's not usually a sign that things are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's usually a sign that people are pissed off. The economy is not going the right way.
You're
Oh,
concerned about
Oh, the basically trying to find religion in answers and stuff like that, and then people label you.
anti-Semitism because it could mean that the economy is not good,
I'm concerned.
which is the most Jewish thing.
That is.
Made a fucking joke.
But you've missed.
That quarter is working overtime right
Yeah.
now.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
No, I
you
know,
know
I'm
what I
teasing.
mean.
Of course, absolutely.
It's a reflection of the fact that the world's not in a good place,
Correct.
Yes.
and maybe not heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know,
And this is cyclical throughout history. You know,
Yes.
the world will get into places where it's very difficult financially. You know, so what do we do when that kind of happens?
we
Ideally-
scapegoat people. That's my point.
Yeah, ideally we don't
Yeah.
just scapegoat, the Jews. And but I agree with you. There's some like really disturbing shit you see online.
Well, I
And
mean,
it's got friends of mine that are Jewish like terrified.
scapegoat
absolutely
the
terrified, because they
Jews,
grow up
right? They're trying to
with
scapegoat
a
the Russians
different
with the
paranoia
Ukrainians.
That like say me or you, or maybe even you if you didn't grow up with it. Like they grew up with the stories of what had happened. So then when they start hearing these similar adages being used, they're like, uh-oh, is it going to happen again? My grandma said this is exactly the thing that happened before
Correct.
World War II, or great grandma, wherever the fuck it is.
Well,
now.
I mean, yeah.
We're so old. But
I
yeah,
mean,
so I
because you had your
understand that
family
paranoia, I
members
understand
still
that
talking about
concern.
it.
And yeah, I think there's like a I think there's like a pressure for Jews to like label things as anti-Semitic, right? Because I imagine, I don't know, but that they'll go, hey, if I point out that that's anti-Semitic, then everybody will go, hey, we got to stop that anti-Semitism. That's wrong. That's fucked up. And then
Yeah,
they'll
that's
snuff it out so it doesn't get too popular.
yeah. That's why you don't want to
And,
bring up
what
certain
I think,
terminology sometimes,
unfortunately,
because it's like
a lot of
sometimes
Jews
you
are learning
might
is that, people
you
don't
might
really
hit
care that
the
much
you
if
might hit
something
the
is
wrong
labeled
chord,
anti-Semitic.
right? So
And I think a lot of Jews are like, why don't people care? Like, what the fuck is going on? And I think that there is a disconnect in terms of like what non-Jews and Jews feel in terms of that paranoia. The paranoia that the Jews feel, non-Jews do not feel at all. They don't even know Jews. Most people have never met a Jew. They see Curb Your Enthusiasm, they see Seinfeld, and that's it.
correct.
Like they think that like you're what Jews look like, and you're not even a Jew.
There's
Like-
a lot of them.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
But like, they don't know what like a
yeah.
Sephardic
See, this
Jew
is
looks
why.
like. They don't know.
Yeah, this is why I don't go. This is why I don't use religion. Right, I feel like these people are using religion as a crutch for some reason. They can't just objectively view these people as human beings with unique personalities and traits and characteristics and viewpoints.
know what like a Moroccan Jew, like they don't even know that that's like a type of Jew, right? So there's like one idea, it's from TV shows, and that's kind of it. And then they have like ideas about them. I think a lot of people have like the way I've described it is like there's like this like ambient light, this like sentiment about Jews, and when the economy is good, it doesn't really matter. Right, but there's like the feelings you could say. There's like some negative stereotypes, right? It's just like, oh,
I guess basically like
they
South
are
Park, how they always
successful,
blame
they try to help each other
Kyle's
out,
family because
right?
they're
And
Jews,
then,
right?
like,
Right, the
once the economy
Bloblovskis.
gets rough, they start going, oh, why do they have money and I don't have money? Once eggs get expensive, it's hard to pay your rent. You're like, what's going up with that? Eggs don't seem expensive to them. There's only a few of them. Why do they own so many sports teams? What the fuck is going on? Why do they have this lobby that gets to lobby America and then we send a lot of money to Israel? Right? So they just start getting like confused. And then you go down that conspiracy rabbit hole. And this is where I think like transparency is actually the best way of handling things. Instead of like labeling people as anti-Semitic, I think like transparently disseminating information, I think is valuable.
The problem with that is you very quickly get into very uncomfortable territory because let's say your point about Jews being overrepresented in certain things, right?
Yeah.
Jews are overrepresented in certain things.
Yeah.
Now, once you begin to ask why, that throws shade on everyone else.
Why?
Because depending on what your explanation
You're
of that
trying to
reason is,
peer into the
it's
veil
quite
too much.
unpleasant for people to hear. For example, there are some
Correct.
people who will say
You're
it's
trying to
cultural.
pull back the
They'll
curtain
say the Jews
too
have
much
a
that people don't
super
feel like
focused on
they
education. By the way,
want to know.
the Jews are
right.
not the only Jews in the world. Like this same thing happens to all sorts of minority groups around the world, and like East Asians in Africa. They're like the ones that do that type of business and whatever. The moment things go bad, they get kicked out or killed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
The most recent one, right? Right. The people the South in South Africa. Was it South Africa? I forgot. But the blacks had to give reparations to the whites because they took the whites' farmland. So they had to do that.
But if, let's say we take the cultural explanation, you say, well, these people have a culture. It's implied the moment I say it that it's superior, right? If they perform better, that means their culture is superior. What does that say about my culture? Well, my culture is inferior, right? That's not a pleasant thing to hear.
Yeah.
Another explanation.
Right, they start boiling. Right, they start thinking, "Oh, my culture is insignificant." All right.
That people will say is, well, if you look at IQ by group, some groups have a higher IQ. What does that mean? Well, that means that.
Well, you guys made the test, obviously. Like everybody knows that.
Right.
You know, you guys control the weather and you make the IQ test.
Yeah,
That's what it
yes,
is, yeah.
scientists control the weather,
groups,
IQ
therefore, have a lower
tests,
IQ.
everything.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear they have a lower IQ.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So that's what
They
what
feel
I mean
attacked
when I say
when
the moment
feel
you begin
the
to
slight criticism, right? Because they think that they can't change that. But it's like, guys, you can change that. It's just you choose not to, in a sense. You choose not to pick up that book and read. You choose not to read this information from both sides. And then you see a different story that says both sides were wrong, and then you're just like, wait a minute. I don't believe this one story that told me everything. Like these both stories are totally wrong. No, I believe this one story right here on the left, and these other two. Fuck those guys.
address that,
Yeah.
we
Like,
get into very uncomfortable territory. And the other
You're-
problem you
sometimes
have is
people are
Jews
given the
tend to, like,
solution, and they're
why do
just
you
like,
think
no,
that
fuck
Jews,
the
tend to
solution. I
succeed?
don't want to do it.
I think it's a combination of those two explanations. And I'm leaning more in the genetic direction personally.
So you think it's just higher IQ?
You don't get way disproportionate Nobel Prize winning scientists.
How can Jews be this smart and they haven't figured out how to not get kicked out of a country?
Because they're annoying.
Because they're
I
annoying.
thought you were going to say, how have they figured this out and not managed to be
Karens.
likable?
I mean, I think it's simple.
but
it's
nobody-
They're
silly things, but
Felicias.
So smart.
But who likes the smart
Stay
kid?
a while. You know?
Who likes the smart kid in the
They're
class?
Debbie
Andrew?
Downers.
I mean,
right?
yeah, I guess Elon's going through it right now. I mean, I want Elon. If World War III breaks out, I want the guy who sends the rockets to Mars on my team.
That's correct.
Yeah, I
I,
wanna keep-
would
yeah.
rather want him.
So then
yeah.
maybe that's it. Maybe we need to like.
be honest,
we need more like.
Have you
societal-
seen NASA shoot fucking rockets right now? Yeah. I'd rather have Elon Musk shooting rockets right now. He knows way better. He knows more about fucking right ballistic trajectory and shit more than these fucking NASA people. Fuck that shit.
utility from the Jews? I think that's. Well, I mean, I think that's like the start, like right there. The
Yeah, the net.
you know,
Right. Ever since NASA, ever since the right, ever since they stopped the basically after the programs after the Cold War, right? That's when it started going downhill. Because that's when everybody stopped fighting or trying to do like crazy advances into space and stuff. As well, they couldn't fucking advance that much anymore because they didn't have the resources or technology to advance that much anymore. They needed more, basically, development and research. And now we can do that. Oh, shit.
between America and Israel. And first of all, like Israel should be able to be
But
criticized
even then,
like
we
every
still
other
don't have a
country.
lot
I
of-
hate this idea,
well,
like
we
if
still
you're
don't have a
critical
lot
of
of money
Israel,
for
it just,
that,
like
it
means
seems.
you're an
There's a
anti-Semite. I
fucking
think that does a
inflation
great
and
disservice to
everything.
Jewish people in general. Like
Yeah.
you're allowed to. We criticize America, right? Americans relentlessly criticize our own country. We can
Correct.
criticize Israel. We can criticize Great Britain. We can criticize Poland. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Okay, this is America. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Now, you can also be critical of the current war going on. Like
Correct.
you absolutely can.
Oh, I'm
Maybe
critical
disagree
about
on it,
everything.
But like, you're not an anti-Semite for doing it. Are
Totally.
there anti-Semites that do it? Sure, but it doesn't make you one naturally. So like, we got to allow a little bit of space for that, right? And yeah, so I forgot what the fuck I was saying.
Well, I think your point broadly is when people have a meltdown because someone said something, it's
Correct.
never going to result in
Trigger
the
warning,
outcome that people
trigger.
think it is, which is like this thing gets shut down. I just don't think we live in that world anymore.
That's it. It was the transparency.
Yeah.
Like, so I think when I talk about like, disseminating information, like we don't live in the ages where, information is centralized. Now it's decentralized. So everybody has access to information. And because of that, it's like easy to, expose certain truths that didn't exist before. It's also easy to cook up conspiracy theories.
Correct.
So it's like, I think you actually need to be more transparent with information. Anytime it seems like you're trying to squash it, humans have this instinct of going, well, why don't they want us to know about this thing? So it's like, if
Well,
right
I mean,
now
like I
people
said,
are questioning...
Look, I will try to give as much information as I can. Now, whether people believe me or not, that's up to them.
the relationship between U.S. and Israel and like why we're so close and why this relationship is so important, just tell them. Should be pretty easy.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like just tell us, like, and then how much easier would it be for like a Jewish American that gets to go, hey, see, it's not just AIPAC is lobbying all these senators in it.
Yeah.
But if there isn't anything, then there's credibility to that criticism, right? Oh, is it just the lobbying? Like, I think this type of like open discussion is important. Like who knows what the fuck Israel and Mossad does for America? Like, maybe America, maybe there's up people in America that have like, special interests. They want to get more involved in the war in Ukraine, right? When did that guy Navalny die in Russia?
Well, I mean that in a sense happened. We did that during the whole NATO thing and the expansionism shit. Right, the one leak of the lady and the right, talking all that shit. So I mean, yeah, that shit is that shit does happen.
Russia.
In the last year,
It's just we
Yeah, it was
don't
like
know who's doing what, right? Exactly.
Week before we decide to like send more weapons, right?
I don't remember, but let's say that
I'm
it
not a
was.
conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying.
My look wasn't like Andrew's weird. My look was I don't remember, and
I'm just saying, like hypothetically, right? Like hypothetically, we want a justification to go, support this war in Ukraine, and
Sure.
we need Putin to look like even more of a lunatic than he really is.
Correct.
So
Yeah. Well, in a sense, yes. I mean, that's what people are trying to stir up. Yes.
his biggest detractor dies in prison in Siberia. He doesn't need to die there. He's away in Siberia. Like, there's no way to even see anybody. But the guy ends up dying, and now there's a justification. We got to stop this lunatic. We got to go give him. I'm making it up right now. Like,
I mean, well, how about we do an actual one? When they fired a missile into Poland, and then the Ukrainians tried to lie about that and blame it on the Russians when the Ukrainians did that. That's an actual event.
poke holes in everything I'm saying. I'm just doing a hypothetical. Can America send a CIA operative out there to kill him? Probably. Or does Mossad have access to that prison? They could murk that guy for us, and now...
Yeah, basically he's basically saying some of these government institutions have their own military prowess.
doesn't come back to America, and then...
Yeah.
I don't know what the relationship is, and obviously you can't like go on CNN and say that's what it is. But if Americans have a question about our relationship with any country in the world, the American government
a lot of countries have
to
special
tell us.
forces.
Bull is beautiful, they say.
Well,
And hey,
if
that's
they've
your look,
been
brilliant.
training and
But what
putting
if
a
it's
lot of
not?
money into
What
that,
if you
right?
don't want to go gently into that follically challenged night? Well, you don't have to. Not anymore. Enter manual. Manual is revolutionizing hair loss treatments by
transplant,
combining
uh-oh.
science, technology, and medical expertise to deliver personalized cutting-edge treatment plans. They've got options for every stage of hair loss, and 92% of men who use Manual's plans saw
no.
improvement.
I got
You can
hair
receive your
loss.
first treatment in as little as
Look
2
at
days
this.
and see results in 3 to 6 months. Just answer a few questions about your hair loss and medical history.
Look at
And one
that.
of Manual's
Oh,
licensed
God.
experts will build your plan and monitor your progress. More than 200,000 men already trust Manual. Go right now to manual.co/trigger to get started, and when you do, you'll get 50% off your first order. That's 50% off your first order when you get started at manual.co/trigger. Manual.co/trigger for 50% off. Manual. Men's health the way it should be. I completely agree, because once you shut things down, then this is the way I interpret it. When I see somebody, if I ask you a question and you immediately shut it down, I go, oh, what's going on there?
Yeah, we have a natural curiosity, and we have complete distrust in every institution in this country right now because we've either been shut down or straight up lied to, and lied to like unnecessarily. Like I think a lot of these conspiracies sprout up from things that are quite like mundane and boring, but you just don't give us the truth. The truth is going to be way more fucking boring than whatever the conspiracy we cooked is.
Oh shit.
Well, the problem is there are still conspiracies from ages ago that remain.
I completely agree, because once you shut things down, then this is the way I interpret it. When I see somebody, if I ask you a question and you immediately shut it down, I go, oh, what's going on there?
Yeah, we have a natural curiosity, and we have complete distrust in every institution in this country right now because we've either been shut down or straight up lied to, and lied to like unnecessarily. Like I think a lot of these conspiracies sprout up from things that are quite like mundane and boring, but you just don't give us the truth.
Pretty much.
Like the truth is going to be way more fucking boring than whatever the conspiracy we've cooked is.
Correct.
Well, the problem is there are still conspiracies from ages ago that remain completely, and like JFK. I mean, how long has it been? Jesus Christ.
That shit's going to be boring when it comes out, bro. I promise you.
What do you mean?
I just know it.
Like some lunatic just went and did it.
No,
so why have they been covering up the whole time?
It's probably, well, there's maybe somebody doesn't want to lose a job. Like I'm messing this up.
They've all got to be dead by now, man.
Well, I think,
Yeah,
I think it was Sauter that said this.
That's true. They all gotta be dead by now.
About like 9/11, for example. And then I want to get back to
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. There's the
like
9/11
Sauter
stuff.
said something about like there was like a
JFK.
brand new FBI or CIA director. That was
I mean, I guess you could say some of the coups that have been going overseas, right?
like a weekend that happened before, and like they had gotten warnings about it. He, I guess, didn't.
Oh yeah, so yeah, a lot of the things have been like, yeah, there was a lot of warnings, but for some reason the government didn't say anything or something. I don't know.
Take the warning serious enough.
Yeah.
It happens, and then he's like, ugh, I gotta cover this shit up or else it's my ass. I could be butchering this. It's on an episode of Flagrant. He was talking about it, but that's not even close to as interesting as the Jews did it.
No, that.
You know what I mean? Like, some ineptitude at the highest level.
Yeah, and some of the documents did have the words Jewish. Well, I mean, they tried to scrub the words, but yeah.
Of the CIA or FBI, whatever it is boring. It's gray, but it's probably.
But come back to JFK, because I don't really like that. You think it's good. If it was a boring explanation, as boring as they knew this guy was going to do it and they fucked up. I mean, how long has it been? It's been 60 years. Man.
I don't know if it's boring. Maybe boring is the wrong word, but I don't
It's not going
think
to be as exciting as the Jews did
Yes. Or it's not even the Jews, or whoever else.
Well, I mean,
right?
honestly, I think
it was
it's
the
just a
Italian
fuck
mob
up
at
on the
one point in
government's
time,
part.
like-
Well, we
Right.
had Michael Francis on, and he basically
I
said
mean,
in
just
the paywall
just look at
section
what
of the
happened, what they
podcast,
did to Waco
they
and some
had
of
a
the
very strong
right.
What is the
People
guy's
fuck
name?
up. Right,
Roast-
shit
Rostioli or something like
can
that?
go south
That's
real
like an Italian
quick.
restaurant.
Right.
But there's a specific guy.
the level of fact checking on this particular podcast.
We
is
need
incredible.
somebody. We need a Jamie. No, so it's like, yeah, listen, there are people that would know way more about that shit than I do. What I assume is that when you try to stifle things, we get really creative and our mind
Correct.
starts going wild.
Yeah.
And we
Yes.
cook up the
We
most
get
insane
very-
conspiracies about
Yeah,
it.
our
And the truth would
imagination
definitely
starts
be
flying.
interesting, but
Because we
boring
want to
in
know what
comparison
the
to
fuck
we've
you
cooked
did.
up.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes it.
that's fair.
Yeah, that
It
is.
seems like I'm trying to cover up these things. No, like
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
something fucked up happened. We should figure it out. But it's
Correct.
not as wild as like whatever fucking lunatic on Twitter who used to like yell at OnlyFans girls and now has decided he's a geopolitical expert.
Yes,
is
that
cooking
too.
up, right?
Or
Like there's
the-
no way that the
That
foremost
shit's insane.
geopolitical experts in the world used to yell at OnlyFans girls. Like there's no way they have all the information. Nobody else has it. Just the guys that used to yell at sluts
Yeah.
are now
Yeah.
like, no. I'm going to expose the truth that only I have. Like, what are the chances of that? What are the chances that those guys?
I mean, look,
God.
all of
I
the
can't believe you said
information
sluts.
we
Yeah,
have
I
right
know,
now,
it's like
anyone can
It's
look up.
positive, Andrew. Come
No,
on.
we got to stop
Anyone
that. That's
can
something I hope Trump
use,
stops. I
anyone
don't want to
can
do any
learn
more of this.
from.
Like, we got to stop like dignifying whores. You're a whore. That's what you decide to do,
Correct.
and that's fine.
Is it?
I'm not saying no. I'm actually. It's your body. You do
He's
whatever you
pro
want.
whore.
Yeah, you're
Your
pro-
body, your
I'm pro
my
your
body,
do
my
what you want with it.
choice.
So you could do that.
Your
but
body,
we're not
my
gonna call
choice.
you a sex worker We're not gonna like thank you at the Oscars or whatever. You're a
Yeah,
whore.
I mean, just
So sex work isn't real work.
Stigmatize it. Of course, it's not real work. We do it to take a break from work. You know what I mean? The guy fucking is working or no?
Yeah, I mean, look, the girl who tend
See, he's using his head now. he knows physics. He knows science. Hey, you're putting out energy. Hey, that's work.
like Lily Phillips, 1,000 or Bonnie Blue, you know, these ladies.
Yeah.
1,000 dudes.
Ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000 dudes in a night or a day or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's work, isn't it?
That
Andrew?
was my
That's a professional
Well,
approach, Andrew.
come on.
that was
come
my
on.
way of like solving the grooming gang things that you guys have.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was all like, "Oh man, this is looking like grooming case." Fuck.
Go on, solve it.
Hey, you got Lily Phillips is down to anybody. Line 'em
Yeah,
up, right?
because those two went down to fucking. I don't know if they went down to UK, but they went down to a country or some shit and fucking did shit.
Okay. Seems like
OnlyFans for Bradford.
there we go.
There we
we
go.
got it figured out. You know?
Yeah.
No, I don't think just because you do something a lot, it makes it work. Like if I
Yeah.
go to the gym, it's not a job. I'm just doing
Correct.
it. It sucks.
If you
but
spend 10 hours a day playing video games, you're not.
yeah, it's not work.
Okay, here's a what about
Why does
Arnold
everybody need
But they're
Schwarzenegger?
getting paid, man.
What about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
That was his.
I like how they brought fucking streamers into the mix when they're like, "Oh yeah, playing 10 hours of video games a day."
job. Lifting weights was basically his job.
Yeah.
Twitch streamers, they play video games.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Is
yeah,
there
it
a
is, yeah.
dignified name for it? No.
Yeah, he was a bodybuilder.
Gym slut.
Gyms. Yeah.
Call them whatever you want. Like, okay, bodybuilder. That's what you do. Dick taker. We can call
Yeah,
them dick
dick
takers,
Yeah.
but we're not going to do this thing where you're like a sex worker and this is a real
Yes.
job. And it's just
That's
like
true.
somebody who shows up on a shift in a construction site. No, it's not. It's the easiest way out.
Well, I mean, right? Well, the whole sex worker thing changed because we were using prostitute, right? And people did not like the term prostitute because it was too vulgar, apparently. Even though it's just a word that actually says you're selling your body for money.
took the easiest way out. Maybe you don't have other skills, which is fine, and I empathize with that. That sucks. But stop acting like it's not the easiest way out. It's emotionally hard, and you're going to feel that shit for years to come,
Correct.
but it's the easiest way out.
I see all these stats about the number of American women that are on OnlyFans, and I'm like, you know, I
gets
I'm
excited.
yeah, I do. I go, this is brilliant.
It's a growth industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Low
so true.
standards.
Who's signing up to these OnlyFans?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yes.
No,
We
Yeah.
gotta figure that out.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
it's all available on
OnlyFans,
Reddit,
really
it's all
low
available on
standards.
Twitter. Like, it's not like you
Yeah.
can't see it. So who is signing up? It's, in my opinion, it's not about the nudity.
No, it's a relationship
Relationship,
thing.
it's
It's
a
a,
Yes.
it's a fake relationship.
And you know what's
Correct.
when you say fake, it actually is. I feel like I'm like exposing an industry. They just have other people that are chatting
Yeah.
with the suckers who are paying them
Correct.
$5, $10, $20 or whatever. a month.
Yeah,
it's not
some of these people have like PR people that do the talking for them while they do only the content.
The girl you're talking to. But
And you're not actually talking to the person who's putting up the content. You're actually talking to a third party.
humans are emotional beings, as we were saying before. They don't care. It's like when someone's getting catfished, they don't
Correct.
want to find out the truth.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what
You
that
want-
re-
yeah, you-
They-
the
they-
person
they
getting
want
tricked
the
participates in
fantasy.
the lie.
yeah, because it feels good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
'cause you-
they-
it's
they
what you
want-
It's what
They
you
want
and
to
you're
be
getting what you
tricked.
want. So like, maybe I'm a douchebag for even calling it out. It's like, no, that is the person. That is the person you're paying for. Enjoy that. They're saying these things. You get that.
I mean, look, you're paying for a service, whether it's an escort, whether it's some fucking hostess in Japan, right? You're paying for a service, okay?
dopamine, and it's awesome. And good for you.
For
Nobody's getting hurt.
a
That's
short
I don't know about
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think
short
I think both people
dopamine
are
hit
getting hurt, don't you?
surface.
I don't know for a fact. Like I don't know.
I didn't even want to say
Like if you,
dopamine.
you know what I
hit.
mean? It's not
But-
like these
So much American approach. Look,
The-
it's only $5. You can't be
the-
getting hurt.
listen,
short
listen, if you're spending, like,
excitement of
20
having
grand a
that
month
thing in
on
that
an
moment.
OnlyFans girl, maybe you're getting hurt, but you also have 20 grand a month to spend. So I don't know. But like $5 a month, have at it, bro. There are worse vices.
Correct.
You know, when you're talking about this and you're saying about, you know, that you're a willing participant in your own delusion, I find that really interesting because America, to me, is a land of conspiracy theories.
Yes, we are willing participants in our own delusion.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the problems with America right now is that
Yeah, we have only
we're not as
ourselves to
delusional as
blame.
we usually are. America thrives on our own delusion. Every American, when they're born, believes they will be a millionaire.
Correct.
And some are starting to believe that that's not a possibility. And that is dangerous. In order for this country to function in the way that it does, we need to have that like delusional confidence. We have the DNA of people who left their entire families for a chance at a better life,
Correct.
but also to get rich. Like every one of us here,
Yeah,
left
we
their entire
took
family, to
people
never see
took the
again.
gamble.
hoping
Right.
that it would work out. We're like the risk takers of the risk takers in the world. So we born and we go, okay, I'll be a millionaire, probably. I mean, there's retarded people who are millionaires on the internet. I see them on TikTok. Girls get ready. and
Yeah,
they become millionaires.
they get fucking money
That's their
thrown
job.
at them
what
like
do you
it's
do?
fucking
Well, I
nothing.
Get ready. And you make money on that? I make millions of dollars. I got ready today. I made $10,000. That's their job. How stupid do you feel if you're an OnlyFans girl?
Right.
There are girls making millions of dollars getting dressed.
Correct. Yeah, fashion models getting
But
dressed
that is
Like, is that
to
not
walk
crazy?
to
No,
walk, and then that's it.
Yes, but no, because there's people who make millions doing something even more retarded than that.
Which is podcasting.
I was going to say that. I was going to say
Podcast.
stand up, but
yes.
But that's the problem because the
TV
American
shows,
dream is the thing that binds you
movies,
all together.
Right.
It did.
This country only works if you think anyone can make it.
Yes.
And that's
Correct.
what makes this country special.
Yes.
But if you lose that, then what has America got?
I mean, it's still the greatest place in the history of the universe.
no, apart from that.
I mean, I just like I don't know another place. Like, you
No,
know,
you're totally right. But this is what I've always said
Yeah,
about there's such a big
Yeah, I hate to say it. America is the only freest country you will be able to fucking live. Right? EU and all those places, they don't have the same constitution or laws that the US has. Right? We are the free market in a sense. Free market not anymore. But yeah,
difference. I think a lot of the
we
stuff
we do
about
we
conspiracy
do
theories is like cross-cultural
give
misunderstanding
people their
because
own
people don't
intellectual
come to America
property
from Europe.
here.
They're like, what the f are these guys on about? But I think it's the other side of the
Or
coin.
at least
which
we
is,
try
like,
to.
This is a place where everyone believes that anything is possible, right? So if anything is
Correct.
possible, then anything is possible.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe we didn't do the moon landings. Maybe.
1000%.
I think it's the other
Correct.
side of that coin.
maybe
our,
maybe flat Earth.
What is it?
Oh, yeah.
Gullibility or gullibleness? What is that word?
Gullibility.
Oh, maybe I should marry Ted
Gullibility,
Bundy. Yeah.
leaves us
Yeah.
open to the consumption of conspiracy theories
Hmm.
in a way other cultures.
Oh,
might
Ted
not.
Bundy,
Like, yeah, I've
Marilyn
never thought
Manson
about it like that. I guess that's
to
the other
those
side
murders.
of the coin.
Zodiac killer
I
didn't
think
do
it's
the
definitely
killings.
that, because like, if anything's possible, then
Yeah, why isn't this possible?
why isn't this possible?
Yeah.
And also, like, once I'm fed truths that I've been lied to by my government, like, once I found out that, like, for-profit pharmaceutical companies will, like, inject children with shit, I'll go, okay,
what?
well, I'll
They
never
always
trust
have.
pharmaceutical company again. And then somebody starts going, well, hey, these vaccines could give your kid autism. And I just had a daughter, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, and they're just some random idiot with a TikTok account. But
You can't talk about RFK like that.
You get to
shout out to
Ah.
Bobby, man. Shout out Bobby, man. No. But like, all it takes is one
No,
for
not
me
the
to
war.
start going down that rabbit hole because like I want to protect that little girl like more than anything in my entire life. If I wanted to protect her, and I don't want to. One, I want to protect her. Two, I don't want to be the responsible party to anything that could be negative that happened to her.
Right.
And I don't have the education to thwart any of the information that I'm consuming. somebody says a vaccine did this in this trial, I'm like, I guess it did that. I haven't read the other trials. So I think going back to what we said before, like I think what Americans need is like brutal transparency. Like nothing would be better if they just did a vaccine trial and then found out, hey, we actually found no adverse effects, or no more than any other medication that we constantly use. There are these instances where this potentially could happen. If your kid has these, red flags, maybe you consider a different option. Like
Correct.
how amazing would that be for American parents where we just go, thank you so much for being honest. And we'd like to make that decision with like truthful information.
Do you think that's where the other, Francis and I love America. It's an amazing place. But do you think that's maybe where the other side of another coin comes in, which is the culture here is so obsessed with making money.
Yeah.
That
yes,
people will
the
do
greed.
some pretty
The
horrific
gluttonous
shit, as long as it makes
greed.
business sense.
And it almost like feels justified.
Right.
We have a saying, I don't know if you guys have it there, but like, it's just business.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we don't have that saying.
No, we
Yeah.
don't.
No.
But it's
Yep.
ridiculous saying like I could fuck you over, but like, hey, it was just business.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's like, no, it's not just business.
No.
Like you and I built a relationship based on what I assumed were shared values. And then you
Well,
did
the
something
shared
that
values on this
broke the trust
contract that
that
we
I had in
fucking
you
put
with those values.
together, right?
And
We would scratch each
yeah,
other's
eventually,
backs, and now you
yeah,
fucked
there is
me
a little
over.
bit of a
right?
disconnect. We all call ourselves Americans and we're in this thing together, but sometimes it seems like we have no problem taking advantage of other Americans.
Mhm.
And just like with the crypto rug pulls and all this kind of
Correct.
stuff. It's like,
Yes.
well, those are your countrymen. Those are the people that invested in your, and yeah, they invested it based on greed. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you're allowed to fuck them over. Maybe they had optimism about what you were about to offer them.
Yeah. Well, no, you can be a really big fan of capitalism, but also recognize that there are extremes to it.
We, yeah, 100%. I think one of the big issues in America is, I was just doing the All In podcast, so I want to like credit them for this idea, but like, I think the reason why a lot of Americans feel like a lack of hope about their ability to be financially successful, is it comes from, I think like post global financial crisis. So like after, what is that, 2008?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In order to like
yeah.
get the economy going again, I think the Fed dropped
The
interest rates to like
scares.
0%.
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
could get money for nothing, right? And if you're somebody who's like financially literate, I'm not at all, but you get levered up, right? You take out as much money as you possibly can and you dump it into a recovering market that you know is going to go up. And I think a lot of Americans that were very wealthy did that. And then they saw insane gains in the stock market. The middle class that had like what we call like 401ks and Roth IRAs. I don't know if you guys have the same thing where you're
Yeah.
from, but
We know what you mean.
yeah.
right, they were through these investment tools able to get some access to that, so they went up a little bit, and then
Yes.
everybody else
yeah.
got left behind.
Yeah. Because
I
they
think it's
didn't have
very
the funds
hard
for it.
to believe in capitalism when it's not working for you. It seems to be working against you. Like all these people here, their wages didn't go up. They keep
Correct.
hearing how great the economy is.
He brings up the wages. There we go. Yeah, it's true. Everything went up and our wages stayed the same. Our wages didn't go up with the inflation. No, it stayed the fucking same. And that's why everyone keeps hurting. That's why everyone keeps living paycheck to paycheck. Because our wages have not been fixed yet to the new fucking inflation rates and
The
shit.
stock market was good.
Right? They
The
haven't.
stock market does
Businesses have not
reflect
fixed
the
their
majority
wages
of
because the
Americans.
government hasn't
The
fixed the
majority of
wages
Americans
yet.
don't even own a stock. They don't even know what the stock is.
Correct.
And what they're seeing is their
Well, I
elected
mean, you're
officials-
also talking about, right, the people who are basically less than 30 years old. Right? Basically, people who are less than 30 years old don't have a lot of capital to be, right, investing in these types of things.
going, the economy's great. And they're like, I've been making the same wage at Walmart.
Correct.
And shit's getting more expensive.
Correct.
How can you tell me the economy is great? Right? And when you feel that, you just feel like the train got on the tracks and pulled away and left you behind. So then you
Correct.
start to have this like anti-American sentiment because America doesn't seem to be working for you. So one of the things that, it's not my idea, but like I think is very important is like, you want Americans to be on board with capitalism, they have to feel the benefits of it. They have to be invested in capitalism. So I don't know if it's given every American 10 grand invested in, S&P 500 from the day they're born that they can't touch until they're 22. But I promise you have a very different sentiment about the stock market, about capitalism, about America, about CEOs. Like, it's hard to hate Elon when your biggest stock holding is Tesla,
Correct.
right? Like, all of a sudden you go, I kind of like this guy. He's doing a good job. Why don't you take it easy on him, right? When every American is invested in the success of American industry, you will have a very different relationship with American industry.
Correct.
But we've left far too many people behind, and I think as to what you guys were saying, we feel way too comfortable.
People
we need to get
do
rid of
not believe in the
Were you
government, right?
surprised with the Luigi
That's the issue.
Mangione case, the number of people who came out and were pro this dude?
I think that that's like a really important thing
Yeah,
to pay
that's
attention to if you have a
that
lot of
was.
money in America.
Yeah, a lot of people
I
are
think the
still
other thing that people don't talk
still
about
to
as
this
much,
day.
but it's
People
like
are
what
still
happened
like,
in
yeah,
California in
like
the Palisades.
Luigi Mangione, he
It's the
didn't do
same
nothing
reaction,
wrong. He
right?
didn't
And
do
like you
nothing wrong.
you'll understand everything about a culture based on their reaction to like defining events. So the Mangione thing, everybody was making jokes on Twitter. "F- that guy. He's
Yeah, just for
okay,
people who
CEO."
don't know, this is a guy who went and assassinated a healthcare company.
Allegedly.
CEO.
Allegedly?
No,
I don't
he
know.
killed him.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
killed him.
he
I-
killed him.
I don't feel like we
Yeah,
need to
we
worry
got
about
video.
libel
Yeah.
on this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so he shot this guy, and then what happened in the Palisades is there were some fires that burned
Fires.
down an entire district, basically.
And the attitude was essentially, oh, they have another house in Aspen. They have another house.
I mean, I was kind of like that too. But don't get me wrong. Some of these people are rich enough. They do have another fucking house and somewhere else. But then there's also people who actually do not have enough money to get them a new house that they just fucking lost. And then the insurance companies just fuck them. So it's like,
House over here. Like, oh, it's just rich people's houses. Who gives a
I see. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
And the sentiment is what we were just talking about is like there's a lot of people that are poor here and they feel like the country has kind of let them just stay there as it pulled away and made all this
Correct.
money in crypto or made all this money in the stock market or made all this money on.
The American dream is not for them.
That's what they feel. So now when all those people that they believe, remember people are emotional, so it's
Right,
like that
people
they
feel like
believe
they're
are the
being
ones that
shafted
made all the
out
money
of
on the
the-
stock market,
out of,
made all the money in crypto, or they're the
out
CEOs.
of
Now that their
Yeah.
houses got burned down and one of them gets shot in the head, they go, I don't give a f- you didn't give a f- about me.
Sure.
You let me sit here like an asshole while y'all took out loans for 0% and then made 22% back on the stock market. You never checked on me and saw how I was doing. Never told me I should get a loan.
And when you think about it, America, nobody does cults like you do cults in this country.
You believe anything, bro.
Yeah.
You fucking love it.
Oh
You
yeah,
love it.
the
Love
fucking
believing.
cults, man.
But here's the
Yeah.
point. You love believing. So if you've essentially ostracized these people from the American dream,
Yeah.
they're separated, they're angry, they're resentful, and guess what? They've got every right to be. You need to be
Absolutely.
really worried, particularly now that there's the internet where everybody can connect, that they're going to form their own cult and something quite dark is going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that happens all the time. Absolutely. I mean, you see the way people are talking about the Jews on Twitter right now. It's exactly that. None of those people are successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Show me the billionaire guy who's like, yeah, these Jews. You know what I mean? He can't. That's his
most
golf club.
billionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the
So there's like,
yeah, some of this shit is already happening, right? I mean, that's why they're talking about it right now, is because it's already fucking
You need to be
happening.
really worried, particularly now that there's the internet where everybody can connect, that they're going to form their own cult and something
Yep,
quite dark is going to happen.
correct.
yeah. I mean, that happens all the time. Absolutely. I mean, you see the way people are talking about the Jews on Twitter right now. It's exactly that. None
The
of those people are
Yakuza.
successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Show me the billionaire
Our
guy who's
Lord
like,
and
yeah, these
Savior,
Jews. You know what I mean? He
Yakuza.
can't. That's his
most
golf club.
billionaires.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so there's like, yeah. So it's yeah. I think it comes from desperation.
Yeah, you shut up.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Fucking
Like,
weirdo.
you know,
So you're selling MSG out night after night. You must be a little bit. Have you got a gun under your pillow for Luigi?
No,
no, but
he's
like,
from New York. He doesn't have a gun.
no, I would never. No. But no, I think you definitely feel it as you become more successful. Like, as you become more successful, there's going to be more criticism, and as your life becomes less relatable, there's going to be more criticism. I think when you're on your way up, you remind people of their hopes, their aspirations, their dreams, and I think like when you hit a level of success, you can remind some people of what they may never accomplish.
and then from that comes resentment.
You have less of that here than we have in Britain. Like in Britain, we absolutely hate successful people in every way.
my
Whereas here,
mom's
there's
from
more
Scotland.
celebration. Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so you know all about
Yeah,
it.
so like, and she told me, she's like, I mean, like, I'm talking about like working class, like dad worked on the docks, you know, died of, you know, lung cancer or whatever from the asbestos or whatever was in the boats. Like, yeah, and I get that. And she told me that, you know, it's like this idea of who do you think you are? You think you're better than us. And this is like, I imagine there's like the class system still exists like emotionally.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it does.
And which I don't know if I'd make an argument for it, but I wonder if like part of the idea of it was to like temper what you have in America, which is the frustration of upward mobility not working for you. Like maybe the idea in Britain is like, all right, well, if we just make everybody feel like they should stay there, at least they'll just be happy where they are with their people. They'll be annoyed at the rich people, but they never hang out with them. Now, you didn't plan for Instagram and social media when you created the system. Now you've got a lot of working class people that got to look at rich people doing shit all day and they're like, F them. But back in the day, maybe it functioned all right.
Because
Kept the riffraff where it belonged.
But like, you spend most of
I
your
only
time.
say that. So
Yeah.
Francis has a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
I have a large chip.
A
on my
large-
shoulder.
Why?
And well, because he comes from a like he
You're
will say
poor?
he will say lower middle class, which
right.
is a way of saying he feels slightly insecure about it.
Yeah.
Whereas I went to boarding school, and
Yeah.
I'm from another country, so I don't really have class, so to speak. So I'm free of that.
Yeah.
He never has. So no matter how successful we are, he still feels resentful.
I still want to burn down his f***ing school.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
For
saying.
no f***ing reason.
No, it's for every reason. It's too much privilege. I want rid of it. I want to be miserable like me.
Yeah, but you don't have to be miserable. You got everything.
No, I cannot have to be miserable. It's burnt into me through generations.
That's basically it.
Get
That's
rid
how-
of it.
No,
Enjoy your success.
no,
You deserve it.
don't say
You're
that.
good enough.
I feel sick. I feel utterly sick. Like I was watching your special and it's great and I urge everyone to watch it. But when you came out and everyone was going mad and there was a big fireworks, if that happened in Scotland, you would have been executed.
I did it in Scotland.
You did it in Scotland.
Yeah, of course. I did it in Glasgow.
You did it in Glasgow.
Yeah,
That
that's where
must
my
have been-
mom's from. Yeah, I love the show. We had a great time at the show.
And you did, man. And the Scots went with that.
Yeah, but he's American, so when he's coming over, it's factored in. Your point is not if Andrew did that in Scotland. Your point is if a British comedian
Yeah.
brought it out like that, in
Had
Britain,
that kind of
everyone would be like, "What the fuck does this?"
I
country
love
is?"
pissing y'all off with that shit. I don't love pissing you. Nothing makes me happier than pissing people like you off.
do you know why? It's because we can't express how pissed off we are.
Yeah, I know. It's your thing. It's not about me.
Yes.
You
But
know,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's okay. You deserve your success. You work very hard for it. You're obviously very good at what you do. So you've earned it. Doesn't mean that we should feel entitled to it. We're all fucking so lucky that we even get to do this for a living. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Correct.
But what I've realized is that like the people who are very happy for my success,
Look,
be
I-
they like
y-
fans or
You
even other
earned
comedians and
your
stuff like that, I'm
whatever
usually pretty, like,
degree,
confident
college,
folks.
education,
And
whatever you want to
The
fucking
ones who
call it.
uh,
You
know,
got a
maybe are
job.
upset, maybe
Right, you earned it.
not as confident. It takes a lot of confidence to be happy for someone else's success. And
Correct.
this industry naturally attracts people with bottomless pits.
Mhm,
You know, like I know
mhm,
people
mhm.
who are doing millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of tickets, and there's somebody selling a little more than them, and that's the only thing they're focused on. And I'm like, what a waste you are. You know, you got so lucky to have this opportunity to do that, and you're focused on like the one other guy who's selling more tickets than you. Like, why don't you focus on the 99.999% of comedians who you're selling more tickets than if you need to compare, or just be stoked? Like I don't get that feeling like about other people.
No,
Okay.
well, it's a really healthy way to be, but I will say from personal experience, it is a lot easier to feel that way when you are successful. It is a lot easier to have that attitude when you yourself are
Totally.
successful.
But the majority of my life has not been success.
yeah.
So
mine
it's
either.
like,
Well,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like, but even
success
during
comes
that
with
time, like,
pain
the
and
people I really
suffering
admired,
too.
and hopefully you don't feel like I'm ragging on you. I know you're just joking around, but you'll always,
think about my feelings,
you'll
Andrew.
always be where
It's
you are.
it's sliding your balls across glass.
But yeah, like you know, you've been coming up like the people who I like
sorry.
really admired and I loved. I had to scream it from.
That's different though, because the gap is big.
You're right.
So it's if you're a new comic and you're looking at Bill Burr, you can be inspired by that. But if you're looking at the guy that you started with,
You're right.
and he's way ahead of you,
You're 100% right.
and you think you're more talented, which every comedian thinks.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's a lot easier to have that, but it's the right attitude. I'm just saying, it's for me, it's become super easy now that we're doing well.
Yeah.
And we learned it from Joe actually.
Yeah,
We definitely learned that from Joe, because the first time we went and did the show, suddenly it really hit us the way that, especially I think it's a big cultural difference between America and the UK. In America, it's like there's plenty for everybody. In Britain, this sort of feels like it's very limited and everyone is scrapping over, everything. It's a great attitude. I love it. It's so much better.
And
way.
that trickles down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
it's like the comedy scene isn't what it is today if he's not around. And I mean that in terms of the culture that he passes. Like if you're somebody who's like a gatekeeper and you don't put on other comics, you don't try to help people, you're kind of ostracized from that scene. Like you're not looked at as somebody who like carries on the tradition of the scene, which is like, yo, let's all help each other. Let's all.
It's
Wait,
like,
did you say Joe Rogan?
there's plenty for everybody. In Britain, this sort of feels like it's very limited and everyone is scrapping over, everything. It's a great attitude. I love it. It's so much better.
And
way.
that trickles down.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
it's like the comedy scene isn't what it is today if he's not around. And I mean that in terms of the culture. If you need to compare,
that way when you are successful.
you'll always be where you are. I like really admired and I loved. I just, but yeah, like you've been coming up. Like the people who I like really admired and I loved. I had to scream it. From
That's different though, because the gap is big.
You're right.
So it's if you're a new comic and you're looking at Bill Burr, you can be inspired
Bill
by
Burr.
that. But if you're
Okay,
looking
so
at the
they're
guy
talking
that you
about Bill.
started with,
You're right.
and he's way ahead of you,
You're 100% right.
and you think you're more talented, which is a cultural difference between America and the UK. In America, it's like there's plenty for everybody. In Britain, this sort of feels like it's very limited and everyone is scrapping over, everything. It's a great attitude. I love it. It's so much better.
And
way.
that trickles down.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
it's like the comedy scene isn't what it is today if he's not around. And I mean that in terms of the culture.
Well, I mean,
he
you
passes.
could say a lot of
Like,
people
if
made
you're
the
somebody
comedy
who's
scene,
like a
right?
gatekeeper,
Bill
and you don't
Burr,
put on other
Bernie
comics, you don't
Mac,
try to help
Chris
people,
Rock, right? All
you're
those
kind of
guys.
ostracized from that scene. Like you're not looked at as somebody who like carries on the tradition of the scene, which is like, yo, let's all help each other, let's all build, and there's plenty to eat. Like me getting something is going to take it away from you. And the fact that we can all do everything online, it's not like we're competing for.
Yeah, I
8
mean, you could
half-hour
say Joe
specials a year.
Rogan is probably a
You
part of
just
that.
put your special up
right.
whenever you want.
Movement too.
So I think that, like, I don't think he gets enough
I mean,
credit
Andrew Schultz,
for like the
especially is
culture
part
that
of the
he's
movement.
created around a business that's like insanely competitive and has the most insecure people.
Yeah.
Like
Correct.
competitive and insecurity does not go well when it comes to like social cohesion and wanting to lift others up.
I
But
mean, you
he's
could
been
say
able to
that
do it.
about the
Rogan
music
is a
industry
master
too
of that, and
sometimes.
that's an amazing thing. Did becoming a
About
dad
some of the
change
artists
some of the ways that you
having
looked at
right
life?
diss
Yeah,
tracks
in
against
every way.
each other and stuff.
It's the most cliche. Like every cliche you could ever imagine about having children.
Yeah.
You feel you're actually embarrassed as a comedian that you don't have more unique takes. Like I thought, oh, I'm gonna have all this like unique takes about my daughter. No, it's like my daughter has the best smile and the funniest laugh, and only my daughter does. Everybody with kids feels the exact same way.
Yeah.
I became a lot more empathetic when I became a dad. Did you find that?
Yeah, I think
I was starting from a low base in my case. to be
fair
fair.
enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I think that like I've always, even though like maybe it wasn't reflected in my comedy, but I've always been able to have like a good amount of empathy. I think, but I would say my world got a lot smaller. Like the opinions I cared about. Like it's very easy to just not care about whatever criticism is out there on the internet,
Pretty much.
as long as like my daughter's happy and my wife's happy. Like I really don't need anything else outside of that. And then my friends, like those three, I'm okay. Before that, and granted, this comes with like a certain level of success in the business too. Like there's a privilege to be like not as concerned about like what the world is saying about an interview I did or something. But yeah, I'm just like very satisfied and happy as long as they're happy.
Look, starting a business is exciting, but it isn't easy.
Stop.
It's not just
No.
logos, merch, and big
Or
ideas.
ads.
It's late nights, awkward first sales, and wondering if your bank balance is going to survive until Friday. That's why having the right tools from day one makes all the difference. Enter Shopify. Shopify powers millions of businesses around the world, from big
Two
names like Mattel and
ads,
Gymshark to people just
oh
getting
no.
started on their kitchen table. It gives you hundreds of beautiful website templates, built-in marketing tools, even AI that will help you write
Oh
product
yeah, I
descriptions.
think
Which, let's face it, didn't use the
trigonometry.
trigonometry back
Yeah,
in
I
2018.
think they
Plus,
always
did I
do
mention that
2
iconic
ads
purple
because
shop play button
they
used by
do the
millions of businesses
long
around the world
video
is why Shopify has the
podcast
best conversion
format.
checkout on the planet. Your customers will really love it. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.co.uk/trigger. Go to
Trigger.
shopify.co.uk/trigger.
Well, there you
One
go.
more time. That's shopify.co.uk/trigger. You talk about it in the special. It was really funny when you talk about being a father of a daughter.
Yeah.
Because that's a unique thing, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
a friend of ours, Melissa Chen, was saying that your number one duty as a father or mother of a daughter
Yeah.
is to keep her away from OnlyFans.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. You gotta.
Jesus.
Yeah. That is the absolute concern. I mean, it's so interesting.
I
like,
guess it's because
you
of
don't
all
really
the
put a gender on
evolved, like some of the parents that have been getting into OnlyFans with their children, or getting their caught with being in OnlyFans, and they're taking their kids to school. Oh shit.
as a child, like you're not like, oh, this is my daughter. It's like, this is my baby, because they don't really do male or female things in the beginning, you know. But you as like a dad definitely have a more protective. Like when I didn't know we were gonna have, and I assumed it was a boy, I was like, they're going to public school. The second it was a daughter, I was like, we gotta look at private. I can't let this girl be around the hooligans I went to school with. You know what I mean? Like, so you do have a natural, you know, protectiveness. Do you have daughters? Do you have son? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But my son is approaching 3. He's already doing boy shit.
yeah,
Yeah, he's got boy levels of energy and smashing his head into things
Love
and
it.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
sounds
mean,
about right.
it's just the coolest. I hope every.
Look at that smile. It's the first time he smiled all interview, other than when he's rinsed you.
Yeah, exactly. You're not delighted.
Yeah,
No, it's the best. Like,
it is the best.
yeah.
It is the best.
I want more people. Yeah, I just want more
I became
people to have-
evangelical about kids once I had mine.
as we should.
Yeah. Why do you think people don't have as many kids?
Well, I think they're expensive.
They are.
And I think that we start a little bit later here because we're so like kind of career driven. I think it's hard to have them. Like, I mean, the whole special is about my
Yeah,
sperm sucking
when
and
your
like us having to
job
go
is your
through
life almost,
this huge process.
it's kind of hard.
Eventually to IVF, where we were able, and we got lucky, we were able to. But like a lot of people go through that for, 8 years, and unfortunately aren't able to conceive. And then some of them are lucky enough to. Like I got flooded with all these stories of people who like tried forever. And what is nice about that is that like you get to see how much people really want to have a family. I think a lot of like what we project in media is like how our kids annoy us or how they're like taking away from something that we want to do. And my experience and the kind of people who have been relating to my special is people who are desperate to have a family and they thought they weren't going to be able to have one. And then with some luck and some science, were then able to, and they're so unbelievably grateful. So it's like, you know how like when immigrants come to America, they love everything about America? That's how we are about kids. We're like, I don't know if I'll be able to get there. And then we got there. We're like, oh my God, this country is amazing. So it's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Do you think a large part of the problem that we see with society is that people don't have families and they're not rooted and they don't feel connected?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's and how do we like reinstill that? I also think when you have both parents, working really hard, it's maybe difficult to do that. And I think stay-at-home moms are really scrutinized. So at least in America, that is. Like my wife.
Well, I mean,
she was.
I think some of the stay-at-home moms are scrutinized because you see some of them coming out on fucking TikTok and being just disgusting people. I think that's kind of why. I mean, there's obviously some of them that are doing that kind of fucking weird shit. But yeah, I gotta say, some of the moms that go onto the fucking social media platforms and do the weird shit with their kids.
She's got her MBA from NYU. She's working at Apple, like PMing AI projects. She's like very
It's like it's
functioning,
one thing
you
to
know,
do like
ambitious
normal
woman. She's
like
like, I don't
normal
wanna do that
stuff,
shit.
but it's another thing
Oh,
to
I'm exactly the
do
same.
like
About 6
weird
months
shit
into a
with your
pregnancy,
kids,
wow.
Literally at
especially
6
on the
months.
fucking internet,
Well, it's
like the
once the
OnlyFans
baby
shit
comes
and
along, it's hard for that not to be your
doing
priority.
playing dress up with your
It's like,
kids or
I don't
hooky.
do
I
shit
don't even
that would
fucking
be
know
good
what
for
some
my
of these
career because
people
I'm
do.
like, you know what? I want to do bath time.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
it's worth more to me
way more.
than going out and getting X grand for this thing that that I'd quite like to do.
Yeah,
But this is more. It's worth more.
100%.
You know, it's funny. It's funny that way. It's funny that way. You gonna have more?
I would love to. God
Yeah.
willing. Yeah, that would be great. And it's awesome that you're prioritizing that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sucks for you.
I've just met you. No, second time.
No. But no, it is. I think it's great. Like, I love to see that. I love to see that reinforced.
I think that message needs to be out there more.
Yeah, this is what I think is missing from like the masculinity movement or whatever. In America.
Totally.
It's again all the same guys. Like
What,
it's all the same
procreation?
guys who have now become like the truth on like Israel and Jews and geopolitics, like telling us how to be a man. And none of them have kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't need you to tell me how to be a man if you don't have kids.
Totally.
I really don't need it. Like you could tell me like how to lift weights, or you could tell me how to do the other thing, but you don't know what it is to be a man yet until you really have children. And then you understand what we're protecting.
And you're in
Well,
the
I
lives,
mean,
Andrew,
well,
right? Because this is another
I
thing.
mean,
Having
that's-
children isn't about putting sperm into a woman. There's a
Clearly.
That's what men do, I guess. I don't know.
but that's what you're saying,
Create
really. It's
children.
about
I don't know.
what that commitment and
Well,
that
I mean, it's
responsibility does
obviously
to you
more
as a
than-
human being, and how you then carry yourself in the world.
Yeah, 100%. And like those are the people that I really look up to and admire. Like I love that you're making that extra time. That's what I mean, my schedule is like I'm at home 6 o'clock every single day. I get to hang with her, and then we put her down. And then I hang with her in the morning when I wake up, and it's like I can't break that 6 o'clock. Am I perfect? No, but I try my hardest to not break that 6 o'clock because that's the time I get to hang with her. And now she's at the age where she can tell if I'm packing a bag that I'm going to be leaving for a little bit, and that's like impossible.
Oh man, I did
Impossible.
a video call with my wife and son, and he's talking now. The day we arrived from the UK, we landed yesterday, and he's like, "Daddy, come home quick." She's like, "Fuck."
Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
No.
You can't. It's like, she'll like grab on, and then she'll like if I try to put her down or I try to walk away, she'll start crying. And when your child grabs onto your arm, like you can actually feel her fingers indent into your arm. It is hard to remove. Like that is unnatural thing. I don't even know how to do it. Like I can't take her off of me when she wants to be on. So I have to have like
that basically
my wife
the
hug as well.
the
And then
unconditional
maybe
love
she'll
of a
make
parent.
the move to go onto my wife, and then I'll try to sneak out of my own home so I can provide for her. Yeah.
But considering that you have a daughter, has it changed the way that you see the world and the way it treats women?
Not really, to be honest with you. Like,
Still disapproves of horse.
Yeah.
He's massively anti-horse.
yeah, I'm anti-war now. No, like I grew up with like a very strong woman. Like my mom, she always worked. It was her business. My dad then came over to work in that business. So like my expectations of like what women can do have always been like really high. So I think a lot of my rejection of like the fourth wave of feminism victimhood that you saw was like, I'm like seeing these chicks from Harvard talk about like how hard it is to be a woman. Like, what like my mom stopped going to school at 14 in like poor as fuck, outskirts of Glasgow, Scotland, comes to America and has like this huge success. And you go to Harvard and you can't figure it out. Like, I'm like, what world are we living in right here? So yeah, I don't think that, but I will say it's changed my idea of like stay-at-home moms and the importance of like motherhood and being right. If you can't afford it, like really being with that kid and not looking at it as a sacrifice, but like really something that we should reward societally. Like, how do we pour into that and try to not make the mistake of like,
well, I mean,
now that I know my wife is like staying
well, I
home,
mean, when
I'm,
you
like,
when you
giving her
think
other
of
tasks to do.
sacrifices, there are willing sacrifices and
That
there are
tells you
unwilling
everything about how
sacrifices.
you view staying at home.
And willing
Right? 'Cause,
sacrifices are
if
the
I
more
viewed
positive
it as, oh, this is a
ones,
full-time
obviously.
job that takes up all your time, I would never be like, hey, can you also manage our finances?
Like that, the willing sacrifice doesn't really fucking do
It's
much.
one of those things where like
Just
you got to start realizing, wait a minute,
whatever.
you could just keep pouring into
Something
a
you
kid.
can put up with.
You know what I mean? They are an empty void as well in a lot of ways. Like they don't just get filled up and then stops and then you work on the finances. Like you can, every day it can be teaching, it can be finding new activities, finding interest in them. Like you can just keep pouring in. So, well, obviously,
And
I need help in
it's
life
not
from
even
my
a
wife, you know.
sacrifice. It's something
I
very
don't
short
want to
term,
treat
right?
taking
You're just
after
trying to get
taking
this
care of the
human
kid
being
as
up
if
and
it's this thing
going.
that doesn't take up a lot of time. So that was something I kind of had to learn.
And it's because it's tough, because on the one hand you've got success and you live in New York and it's so disastrously expensive
It
here.
is.
I don't understand how even
Correct.
upper middle class people live in this city.
So this is the great thing about New York, okay, is that it is humbling,
That it is.
and we never, like I had to learn obviously like a little bit through my mom, but like there are people, for example, that they don't like to show how well they're doing because they are concerned that it could piss off their community, their fans, or whoever it is.
Luigi.
That's
Louise
yeah.
might get upset.
You get,
When you grow up in New York, you've never felt rich because there's always somebody way richer down the block. You never feel like you have the best car. You never feel like you have the coolest clothes. You never feel like
Yeah,
anything.
you sometimes
never feel like you
have
get
rich
into the
people
best
just
club. Like, nobody
chilling,
ever
doing
feels
rideshare stuff.
like they're at the top,
Right?
because it's literally the top of everyone in the world.
Yeah,
just
you
converge on this
don't
one
expect
tiny little city,
some of these
right?
rich people just
So,
act like
You're
non-rich
not
people
embarrassed
sometimes.
to try one. Like I know sometimes like trying, you know, like trying, making an effort. Like there's this little thing in culture right now, which is like if you're trying, it's like uncool or it's like I can't wait till we get off of that little shit. That is so whack to me. Like you're just afraid to fail, and failure is cool. You should fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Like,
Correct.
if you are not failing, your dreams aren't big
You're
enough.
not making
right? So, like,
mistakes. That's a
but in New York,
mistake in
we try.
itself.
Because that's the only way that you're going to be able to compete. You're going against the best of the best from when you're a kid. Like it's high performing people's kids.
Correct.
What do you think they do? Do you know what I mean? It's like the smartest person in Korea married the smartest person in Russia, and they made a fucking kid in New York, and I got to compete against that motherfucker on a math test. Like that's life. So trying is cool, but you never feel like you're bragging because there's always somebody way more.
Correct.
I had to learn that like posting like a picture on a fancy vacation could like make people feel uncomfortable, and I'm like, this vacation is nothing compared to the guy who lives down the block.
This is why school is
He would
difficult.
be caught dead in this
because you're
hotel.
competing
You
against
know what I
your
mean? It was just like a thing I had to
against
learn
your
about
classmates in a
success.
sense.
But I do ultimately think that like trying.
I mean, you're obviously not competing to beat
I would
them,
love. I think that's
but
one
you
of the things
feel
about American
that
schools, like
competition, right? That
the shameless
competitive
effort.
drive.
That's
Yeah.
a key part of
In
your
that
success, because in
atmosphere.
Britain we look down on trying. When
Yeah.
we started this show, people were going, "You're trying?
Yeah.
True,
Why don't you just
Troy.
accept?"
I tell you a story from school time. So you guys have American football, we have rugby,
Yeah.
right? And the one thing that happens is when you score, the same thing happens, which you have the opportunity to kick for an extra point. Or in rugby, it's extra 2 points.
Yeah.
So there was this guy in my school, shout out to him, Tom Brown, great rugby player.
Yeah.
He went on to nearly play professionally, actually. And there was a game, I think it was end of the season. The score was tied. It was like 22-22 or something like that, right? And he rushed out and blocked the conversion attempt. And our team went on and won because of that.
Because of that.
Because of that, right? Because
Yeah,
they kicked the
yeah,
penalty, it was
because-
3 points, they won.
Yeah.
Right? Something like I don't remember the score, but basically because he blocked that conversion,
Yeah.
the team won. And the next day, the entire thing at the school was, oh, what a keener. Someone who's keen, someone tries too hard.
So
And that's
trust.
a posh school. Can you imagine the school that I went to?
Yeah. So they're upset at the effort that he
They
made.
weren't upset. They looked down on him for trying
Yes.
so hard. He tried so hard. Like, no one tries to block the conversion.
Yeah.
That's, come on, what are you doing?
So where does that come from? Do you think that's a class shit, or should this subvert class because it's a sport? It's meritocracy. It's effort. Like,
I tell you what I think in the UK it is, at least part of it. The UK used to have a landed gentry, The landed gentry are people who were rich because their grandparents were rich.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Basically,
So there's a link in people's minds between wealth
what the Great
and
Gatsby,
being someone
right?
whose entire
Old
life
money
was spent
versus
partying and
new money.
you never earned it. You never worked for it. So if you're rich, you're probably a bit
Basically,
sus.
new money
You know what I mean?
were
Like you're not a
right,
good
the
person.
new
You
upcoming
didn't work
people
for
that
You didn't create
sometimes
things of
got
value to
their
others. You didn't make a
inheritance, right,
special that people
inheritance
went and
from
paid
their
$50 for.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, family.
You just got it because your dad had it, and he had it
Correct.
because his dad
And they
had it.
shouldn't be able to show off.
Yeah.
I believe in that. Yeah. I think if you didn't earn it, or if you didn't create your own path, you shouldn't be able to show off.
Definitely.
But then there's the other part of the equation, which is if you do come from humble backgrounds and you do make it and you buy
You
yourself,
can't say shit.
you can't say
Mm.
yeah,
That's fucked
exactly.
up. You should be screaming it from the rooftops.
Because here's the thing, you know our term for it? I don't know if you have it here. Nouveau riche.
Yes.
And
Oh,
you know
okay,
we hate
so,
them
yeah.
because we use
So they are talking. They're essentially talking about like the great. If you've read the book The Great Gatsby, that's basically the premise of around the whole thing, the nouveau riche and the right the old money and new money and shit like that.
French words.
No, but new money is, we call it new money. New money is the coolest.
No, not in the UK.
Not in the UK.
Oh.
It means you
Yeah,
have no
in
class.
UK
Yeah,
it's different.
That's why the British hate Trump. You know, the British hate Trump, and they think
Yeah, this is why we have. Yeah, this is why LGBTQ in right UK and EU is different from right the LGBTQ in the US or Canada, is because these people are right making their own movements and using their own terminology and words.
well, the Americans
Based
think 'cause it's
on,
what they say.
right,
It's
their,
not. It's 'cause he's
their
got a gold
culture,
elevator.
or at least
And we
what's
look at
going
that and
on
go,
in
that is
their
disgusting.
Okay.
How
country.
tasteless.
Now, listen, there is a, yes, there is
A
a,
golden toilet is
yeah.
yes,
it's-
100%. Like we would say
no
that
disrespect,
about,
Mr. President. We still want to
No.
interview you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the golden toilet is a fucking
yeah, it gets a little
abomination.
ridiculous. We would
That's
say,
just-
people would say that.
Yeah, I swear to God, if President Trump was to make a golden toilet, dear fucking God, I'm with that's a fucking abomination. Don't do it.
That about, like, for
Jesus.
example, like Miami, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many like green cars
Or
there.
the
They're, like,
golden
orange
shit.
cars, like a Lamborghini Urus. You know what I mean?
So
It's just like
fucking
it's
South
the
Park,
first thing
isn't
you
it?
do when you get some money is that you buy something that lets everybody know that you got some money.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so somebody, like, oh, there's a class that says there. Yeah, you know what else is really nice about Miami is that there's a classlessness. That's great. You feel free within the classlessness. When you're in these like restrictive cultures, like if you're at the fucking Downton Abbey or whatever that shit is, and you're like, am I eating the salad right? Is this the right fork? You're like constantly worried about like this
Table
pretentiousness being
manners.
cast on you because you're not operating with the level of like, there's a specific fealty or something like that.
Yes, yeah. You've got to know the rules and have an appropriate level of deference to the right person.
Yeah, and it's just like, why did we fight a war? Like, we fought a war so we didn't have to do that shit. Like, if I want to grab the salad with my fingers and shove it in my mouth, then I'll do that because that's the best way that. Did I buy it? Yeah. I bought the salad. It's here. I don't give a how anybody else sees it. Are classy things
in a
nice?
way,
Yes,
yeah.
of course. It's beautiful. You go to some fancy
Yeah,
place
hey, I
and
bought
it's
this food,
awesome,
I'm
and you
shoving
go-
it in
you
my
sit
mouth,
there,
fuck
go,
you.
know, rich people, they made some nice fucking
I'm
food.
hungry.
They
I need
really did.
energy.
I like tapping in for like a week or two, going to a nice resort. I get it. That's awesome. It's all. I don't want to live there. I like tapping in, enjoying it, getting the fuck out. Get back on the street, have somebody spit, talk. I like using curse words. It's too rigid, that culture. And it's just, what's the point of freedom? Like, I need to act authentic.
Hey, I'm kind of with them on that. And that's me fucking from a computer science. Yeah, I picked the wrong fucking job. Computers, some of the tech industry are too fucking rigid. They're flaccid. They're wet noodles. They're sad motherfuckers sometimes.
Authentically. Authentic action is buying an orange car the second you get
They're
money
too
'cause you're
uptight,
excited.
right? Too
So
tense, too
Would I
uptight.
ever buy an orange car? No. Do I hope my daughter
Too
never
worried
dates a guy with an
about,
orange
right,
car? Yes,
trying
I
to
hope
make
she
people
never dates a
feel
guy with an
better.
orange car.
Gosh,
Do I love that guy for
annoying.
doing it? Yes.
Just be
'Cause
straightforward.
He's doing what he wants to do, and he's not doing it because he's worried about like what some old money person that's never achieved anything in their entire life is telling him what he should or shouldn't do. that make sense?
That's American spirit, right?
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
How can you let motherfuckers that never earned $1 make you feel shitty about what you do?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's crazy.
I don't give a fuck about any of them.
When
I'll
you
do
watch Titanic, who's the bad guy?
Rose. She pushed him off the thing.
Yes, of course. But before Rose did that selfish thing,
Why does nobody talk about this?
no. This is very common in America.
He was heroic.
No, it wasn't.
He was heroic,
No,
saving her.
no. She could have said, "There's two of us here. We're going to be together. We love each other. This is meant to be."
We died
She
together.
just let
I mean,
it
she
go.
just met the guy, right?
We
She doesn't love
sink
him, you know? She
together,
just got
Captain.
Good.
That's it. That's all it is to you.
Capitan.
That's all
Andrew,
this
you
is.
actually had a
Capitan.
point. Who's the bad guy in the Titanic?
Yeah, like to you guys, who's the bad guy? Like
Oh, it's Billy Zane's character.
Billy's character, but also like there's certain characters that are specifically pushing back against this pretentiousness we're talking about.
yeah.
So the
about-
woman that teaches him how to use the silverware,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she's calling a farce on all this stuff. She's like, that's ridiculous. These people are stupid, but it is what it is. And she's like the idea of like new money. She probably is looked down upon.
Yeah.
Because she got more
Oh,
money
yeah,
than all these
that's-
motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Oh man, I gotta watch the Titanic again. I guess I missed. Well, when I watched the Titanic, I was a kid, so I didn't see any. I didn't click the whole class system, right? New money, old money in there. Maybe I should look back at that. That is interesting. I didn't. Yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah, I probably should, because when I watched, I was a kid. So I probably didn't. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of that shit.
So
It was for me. I think it was more so the dramatization of just shit hitting the fan, of just right the Titanic breaking up and getting fucked up, and just a lot of people losing their lives.
in America, we don't really like that. Like, there's like these legacy families that you've heard the names, you know, the Kennedys, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
Like, they're almost broke. Like, none of them are making any money now.
Yeah,
Like-
all of them are almost. Yeah, they're not making any money. All of them did shady shit too. They did a lot of fucked up things during the Industrial Revolution, and there were fucking companies left and right sometimes.
Like they had. And so, like,
I mean, in a sense, they were driving the industries,
What are you doing?
but at the same time, they
Yeah, what are
were
you doing for- you
fucking
get, like, a few
cutthroat and
generations and
destroying
then-
shit at the same
This is America, baby. We don't really.
time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like, they would just maintain their estates in Britain for like
Yeah.
the next 300 years.
Yeah. And you use the example of the orange car. So we've got Premier League soccer in the UK. And for
Right.
most young working class boys, that's their dream, because that's how you make a lot of money. Plus, you play soccer, which is awesome, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then you see these kids who are earning an astronomical amount of money at the age of 20,
Yeah.
and they buy an orange Lambo. And then you get all these fat people who are like our age or older going, I can't believe they've done this. I'm like, you can't believe a 20-year-old dude who grew up in a project, has got money, bought an orange Lamborghini?
Yeah.
That's what we all do.
Yeah, that's what every single one of us would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were a kid, I
exactly.
mean, look,
You know,
this is the
'cause that's
modern
the
era.
dream when you're that age. If you've
Yeah.
got money,
Exactly.
This is why we created a country. I think you guys need to tap into what's happening here. I think you're realizing why America exists.
no, I realize why America exists. When I
Andrew,
came in.
on that subject, we'll wrap up with this. Are you happy that your success came a little bit later in life?
I don't know if it's happy. I'm happy that I got to experience like getting some success and then like losing it.
Wait, when did you lose it?
Okay, so this is like a tricky way of looking at success, but like maybe you get some success. Early on, I was like on these like MTV shows. They were called like Guy Code and all these things. It was outside of
yeah,
like
that's
it
right.
wasn't
Yeah.
stand-up,
Oh
but
my
it was like
god. That's where I remember him from. Guy Code. So fucking look. No wonder he kind of looked familiar. Yeah. Oh, yeah, with Charlotte. My god, that's right. Shit. I completely forgot about this shit. Yeah. Oh my god. Fuck, man. Yeah, this was at the time I wasn't. Yeah, this was basically at the time I wasn't watching a lot of. Dang, holy shit.
comedy type of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And then that ended, and then I was doing the podcast with Charlemagne the God, which ended up being like the
on
most fruitful
MTV.
thing that I've ever done in my entire life in terms of like building an audience, deep connectivity. It taught me like what the internet really was, and let me know that there was like an appetite for comedy on the internet. It informed the rest of my career. But in terms of like perceived success, like from being on every TV show on MTV to then doing the pod, it was like getting recognized in the street went away. Not away, but like it wasn't like it was. You know what I mean? So
did you experience that as a setback then?
So I didn't, because I was able to do the thing I love, which was stand up. I was able to support myself, and I was like building this really cool thing with my friend. And so to me, I didn't see it as like a setback per se, because I was like, oh, I'm getting funnier, and this show is like really growing.
Well, I
like,
mean, he was doing something he
but
loved.
I noticed a difference in like people interacting with me, right? And also like I got to
the
be,
change in.
I noticed a difference with like people just interacting with me like with Charlemagne. He was like on a rocket ship, right? So people coming on the show and like just not caring at all like what I had to say, and being like, okay, I listen, they're here because of who he is. Like this guy's a fucking superstar.
Correct.
You don't have to have an ego about that. Like learn how to operate and score within this system. If you're on a team with Jordan, you're not going to get the ball as much as Jordan, but how can you affect the game?
And you need to hit the open jump shot.
You need to hit it every single time. So just kind of like
Yeah.
learning how to do that, observing
because
him,
of
like trying to soak up as
I
much
mean,
game.
that's because of the whole
I felt that
MTV
kind of
and
difference.
comedy and all that stuff.
Weirdly, like I was still selling tickets and stuff on the road because I had the pod, but there was a different like perceived success. So I got to kind of have like without it and then go through it again. And that was really helpful, because it was like I got to do it twice. So I understood what the mechanisms of it were, like how it made me feel emotionally and how I could operate within it. I never wanted to be like famous. I wanted to be incredibly successful at stand-up. So I tried to like figure out how to do that. Never figured out like fame. And like, I'm kind of learning that now. And that is something like, you got to be offensive with fame. Like, I didn't realize this. Like, not offensive in terms of like offend people, but like you got to play offense. I didn't get it. But like once your name is click worthy, there will be people that are just making videos because it will get views simply because it's about you or has your name in it. And they'll make money on that. And then once other people see that there's views in it, other people also make videos. And then
that sounds like content creation.
In my mind, I was like, well, I'll just keep putting out fire shit, and that's all that matters. It's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
like,
that's content creation in general, right? People
actually, you have to
watching
find a
your
way
videos,
to
right?
navigate all these things.
People,
you know, Joe
right.
has one strategy.
I guess
He
he's
just
talking
doesn't
about like
acknowledge
people
any
like
of that shit.
DJ academics and all those fucking
Some
weirdos.
people acknowledge maybe too much,
Right.
finding out what to acknowledge and what not to acknowledge. But like, it's a different part of, like, you know, once the last
I call
special came out,
DJ
everything was
academics a
kind of
weirdo is
cool
because
and, you know,
the
successful.
legal,
Like, I kind of took
the
a break.
legal
I kinda just did my
case
pod.
he's in right now.
And from doing this press run, and
I don't
like
know
doing
if
a
that
bunch of
case is
shows,
still
I
going.
realized the importance of going on other people's pods. Like you can create a diverse group of guests for your podcast, and the only people that will matter to are the people who already know who you are. When you go to other people's place and you're like interrogated, and I mean that in a good way, the people who don't like you find out who you really are. And then they go, oh shit, these guys are like reasonable dudes. And like, oh, this is actually really smart and thoughtful. And like, he's a dad, he like really loves his kid. And he's not like some headline or soundbite that I see on the internet. And then I create an idea about him based on that. They're like fully formed human beings. I didn't realize the importance of that. And I think now it's like, I need to go on my biggest detractors show, as long as they're not like some fucking retard. And they might have an idea of me that's not fully formed. And then from us sitting down, I might go, yeah, I really like this guy. He's got some like good ideas. And that person might go, oh wow, he's not as I thought he was.
And the only way that happens
is he talking more
we're having these
like he went
conversations
on like
outside
the
of
whole
our podcast.
Charlemagne thing?
Yeah, that's one little thing I learned from this one. I'm sure there's like a million more to do.
Or,
there's one
but
thing
I guess
recommend
he's
even
more talking
for you
about his
guys as you guys
experience
continue
with
to skyrocket.
right
It's like,
the difference in
who
people's
can you have conversations with that are going to be hard,
right,
you know, and you can have them on yours.
relationship
That's going to be positioned away
dynamics
because
and
people are just going to read
you
the
know how
headline. But like
people
how you go into
operate,
their home
right?
and let them push back on ideas you have, and then your ideas get even sharper.
I love doing that. It's one of the reasons I do a lot of stuff that's not with people who agree with me as
I
much
think
as
it's
I
great.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
great. It's awesome.
Before Andrew
Well, I
answers your
mean,
final question,
the reason why you would argue with people who don't agree with you is because you can, right, make your arguments sharper through those interactions, right? You start to point out key differences and reasons why you are putting up that
at
your
the end
argument
of the interview, make sure to
versus
head over
theirs.
to our Substack. The link is in the description.
And
where
then
you'll be able to
as you
see this.
listen to
What is a
their
joke you
side of
thought
the
would kill,
story, you can
but
then
completely bombed.
right
If
cater
podcasting had
yours
existed at this
to,
level
right.
20 years ago, which old school comics do you think would have killed
It's
it
a
the
game
most
of
in the
dance.
format?
I heard that you consider
fun.
Seinfeld to be overrated. Are you insane? Andrew,
Yeah.
it's been awesome having you on, man.
Thanks so much,
Before
guys.
we go to Substack and ask you questions from our viewers
Sure.
and listeners, what's the one thing we're not talking about that we should be?
Right now, one thing we're not talking about that we should be right now. Wow, that's a good. You know what? For as big as like the story about anti-Semitism and like Jews and how big it is on Twitter, like even with Joe's episode with I think Ian Carroll, was that his name? Ian Carroll?
Yeah, it
Or
is.
no, Daryl Cooper was the other
Yeah.
one. Like for as big as the talk was about that, and Joe's the biggest pot in the world. Like I would think it would be like
Oh, Joe.
Kanye numbers for the episode. You know, I would think it'd be like Elon level numbers for the episode, but it wasn't that big an episode. I mean, for our standards, it's huge, but like
Joe
for
Rogan.
Joe's standards.
Mhm.
So what I'm curious about, what nobody's talking about is like, what are people thinking? Like, I actually think this is quite a small group of people that are talking about this on the internet and talking about it on Twitter and making it seem like everybody cares about it. But I don't know if the numbers show that.
Represent
Get
the
700K?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Like-
which
Yeah.
for Joe is not high at all because
Like,
she's so successful.
I did it a week earlier or a few days before. I think mine is at like 2.2.
We're usually 1.6, 1.5, something like that.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but the talk comparatively is like,
Probably half of those views are people who hate watching
Yeah.
that as well.
but so think
Sure.
about that. Like,
there
so
could be
the way
hate
I would
watchers.
digest this is like, wait a minute, is this?
Are you saying Twitter is not real life?
No, well,
No.
of course, that absolutely. But it's more about like one thing I would say to Jews is like, as big as it seems on Twitter, it's not actually reflective over the general population. Like they aren't as consumed by this as it looks like
Yes.
they are
Correct.
on Twitter, right? So that's one thing that we know, like for a fact, data-wise. I know we talk about feelings, but like,
Yeah, if you
and I
want to
don't wanna,
say
like, talk about your
data-wise,
feelings, but maybe that's
right.
one thing that makes you.
I mean, you kind of have to segment out these sections of data, right? Because this is just one platform, right? Versus Twitter. 700K is right in the grand scheme of things seems like nothing, right? It seems well, and it seems big, but compared to like Twitter, that's actually pretty small, right? Whereas Twitter, you can reach, right? Well, I mean, you can reach worldwide with YouTube as well, but at the same time, YouTube kind of censors and limits people sometimes. So you're kind of fighting with that. But with Twitter, no censorship, freedom, hands off. Well, to an extent, right? As long as you're not breaking, right, the terms of service. But yeah.
feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
There's a group of people.
Yeah, on YouTube, there's still that. It's still limited. It still feels like an echo chamber. I guess it's better to say.
that are on this platform that are really engaging with
Whereas
content and then
on
creating
Twitter,
content
it
around
doesn't feel like an
But in
echo
terms of like
chamber.
overall
It feels like a
interest in it, it
free
doesn't seem
flow
like
of
it is there as much
everyone,
as
right?
just some comedian that's going
mixture
on,
of everyone's ideas.
Joe, and having a conversation. So that's comforting to me a little bit. Like if it was getting 40 million views, I'd be like, oh, no bueno. Like I would imagine like Candace talking about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively got way more traction than her talking about Israel. I don't know, but I guarantee, like I had my wife going, have you watched Candace Owens' thing on Justin Baldoni and Blake? Like what? Like she was like, this is unbelievable. You know what I mean?
What?
You know, so it's like,
What?
so we can put that thing in perspective there. So if they aren't concerned about this, right? If it's not the lightning rod hot button
God damn it,
topic,
women! Why do you care
what
about
is,
this?
and what are people consuming?
It's just some
and what is
fucking
that
dumb
thing
bitch who tries to steal a movie
we-
from someone.
that we really need to tap into? Like I'm not sure right now, but like there's usually a pull in a certain direction. When it was Trump for the election, it was obviously Trump, right? It was like, is this going to happen? What's going to happen? A few weeks ago, it was definitely like Elon and his involvement in government. That's kind of like moving away, and now we're just kind of like sitting here. And I don't know. It's rare that I don't know. Like usually this is what I'm good at.
He's a humble motherfucker.
I'm very, very humble. No, but like this is usually what I can tap into. And even now, like I was shocked when I went to go watch the episode. And I was like, if I go on Twitter, it's the only conversation I see on Twitter. And when I go upstairs, I was like, this is like.
Well, this is the thing with the Twitter algorithm, sorry,
Yeah.
let me take that back. It's the thing with social media.
Social
algorithms,
media
which is
algorithms
the
in general, right? They will push a certain narrative sometimes, especially. Well, it's hard to notice the pattern, right? If you were to look at the YouTube algorithm right now and the top news, it's pushing Pope Francis stuff all the time now, right? When it was Kamala, when it was the switch up from Biden to Kamala, it was just all Kamala stuff. So it's very selective in terms of I think they have some sort of way to force certain things, right? Right. I think because they can change parameters if they really wanted to, right?
crazy shit is what gets the attention.
Yes.
And maybe the thing we should be talking about is that good, and do we want to carry that on?
Well, I think the conversation, here's a good conversation.
Oh, how about another one? The recent the tariffs, that was another one, and then you had the right at the MS-13 members and shit, right? Always being pushed into the algorithm, right? And people keep eating it up.
How many people are letting the algorithm decide their opinions and how they create? I think that's a very important.
Oh yeah, another one, Carmelo Anthony, right, and Austin Metcalf, right?
Like, there's a lot of people that are like spouting off about shit on different platforms that they might not even be aware. That's not even their opinion.
Correct.
They're desperate for attention. They created a video about a thing. Randomly, it gets a lot of views. They start going,
oh shit, it blew up. Now I have to
this is what I'm
perpetuate this
made
bullshit.
to talk about. It's like, no, dummy. That's what the algorithm told you to
Yeah,
make.
that's
and now
what.
You were a slave to the algorithm.
Correct.
And it's like one thing I talk with my guys about, which is like, we're not stupid. We know how to just make every episode get a certain amount of things, but then it wouldn't be authentic. And what's the point of creating online if we're not going to have an authentic opinion? Just get a job, CNN, Fox, someplace, and just have the opinion of the corporation.
Sure.
The cost of that is some episodes aren't going to do as well as other episodes. And that's just the cost you have to pay for. Some people aren't willing to pay it. You start getting ad deals and you have to deliver this many views. And then the ad company's going, hey, why didn't that episode hit? And
yeah, when you start getting ad deals, that's when you now you have to play by a certain rule set, right? Now you have to play a different kind of game. Different ballpark.
You have to tell them, well, because we want to have authentic conversations, and in order to do that, some aren't going to go that crazy.
Yeah, some
and some are going to go insane. But I think there's a lot of creation that is algorithm dependent, and we're like taking people's advice that don't even believe what they're saying.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I know
Yeah,
exactly
what you mean.
It comes back to what we were talking in the episode about, which is it's just business.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people for whom media is just business, and they will say whatever the.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people when Israel-Palestine
CNN,
started that like
MSNBC.
got some views off it, and then that's become their whole identity.
Yeah.
Never talked about it once. They've been in media
Hassan
for
Hamas
decades.
spiker.
Never talked about it once.
Hmm.
Million views on a video. That is who I am.
Destiny.
Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about it. If you are in media and you're talking about like what's happening in the world, yes,
Femboy.
absolutely should talk about this 100%. But how much is it like an algorithm chase? I would be. And then if you are somebody who's deeply affected by what's happening in Israel-Palestine, I would also be
unhinged,
wary of all the people that you
flamboyant,
support that are supporting you, because that support
Goddamn,
might
sorry.
go away once those views go away.
Oh, absolutely. You see that before Israel-Palestine, it was, the trans debate, where if you wanted 1 million views, you
Trans
just got,
debate,
someone would come on, say men can't be women.
And what a great time that was for Triggernometry.
Yeah, it was. That's how we
When
built
the
the
fires
platform.
were going on, it was
beautiful.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Cheers,
It was
guys.
the
Head on over to
California fires
Substack.
a
We're going to
little
ask
bit.
Andrew your questions. See you there.
for like a couple days.
I heard that you consider Seinfeld to be overrated. Are you insane?
I think that
The USAID stuff. I mean, look, there are many instances where you can see the algorithm pick up the right. It's like it's literally certain fucking news all the fucking time. Well, thank you. Thank you, Triggernometry people. As usual. Always great, long, deep conversations on, socio-political things.